a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Blue Jays fans, your manager, John Schneider, joins MLB Network Radio every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
It took a little bit of time for this newer group to mesh a little bit and feel comfortable, but they're playing well. They're hitting the ball hard. We're hitting some more home runs, and it's been really nice to see these young guys come up and mature on the fly a little bit.
Managers at the mic on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89, and the SiriusXM app.
This is John Paul Morosi. On the new SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown, I sit down with Hall of Famer Adrian Beltre.
I think my first year in Seattle was the toughest year of my career. I felt like I have to prove the fans and the front office that I was worthy of that contract.
The Road to Cooperstown airs Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89, and the all-new SiriusXM app. New episodes drop every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts.
In season or out of season, the number one place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Already here.
This slams the ball to right field, way back, way gone. Is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second to throw. In time
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The last road game of the year. The Blue Jays wrap up the away schedule with one final matchup at the Trop. After back-to-back Rays wins, Toronto needs a victory to avoid a sweep. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Show Ali is our host, Nick Blackmore is our producer, and our technical director is Tom Young. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Windsor Center and Windsor North, Ontario. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. Toronto starts Ryan Burr today in a bullpen day. More than likely, longtime Ray Ryan Yarbrough will pitch the majority of the game against his former team. Tampa Bay counters with Shane Baz, who takes the ball next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app at sportsnet.ca and across the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Fanal Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the ninth. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend for the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend presented by TD. September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
We are 2 weeks into the fantasy football season. Are you ready for an undefeated season? Or are you already hitting the panic button? Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win in Week 3.
This is Amari Cooper. If you have somebody much better to pick up, then move on from Amari Cooper. Otherwise, stay the course.
From the latest injury news to lineup decisions, win your matchup with the help of Fantasy Sports Radio. Your home for fantasy football all season long. Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
And it's gone!
Jays fans, this is John Schneider, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
There's the exclamation point for all assembled here at Rogers Center.
Radio Network.
Swing and a line drive right center field, sinking, and down it bounces past low to the warning track. Horwitz off to the races around third. He's going to come in to score. Kirk around second. He's trying for third. It's a triple for Alejandro Kirk, and the Blue Jays are within one.
Yeah, I feel like if Kirk gets a triple, you should win the game automatically. That should be a new rule for MLB to listen to, but fitting place here at the Trop, didn't have Spence scoring from first on a Kirky triple on my bingo card. But, nice that we got the ball for him, and, the stars were aligned.
Alejandro Kirk tripling yesterday, but the Blue Jays fell short 3-2. They lost to the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays have won the series, but Blue Jays can take a consolation if they win today, avoiding the sweep in their last road game of the season. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. And Chris, I know it's one of your favorite days. We're going to see a healthy serving of Ryan Yarbrough today after Ryan Burr opens for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I like this combination. Ryan Burr has been really good recently. He's obviously, we've talked about him at length, but he's got the good mid-90s fastball. He's got that really good breaking ball. And when you're constructing a bullpen, you think about guys that can strike guys out in big situations. Ryan Burr has that slider that he can basically go to in any count at any time. He has 40 strikeouts in 29 innings. This is a guy that I love to see late in ball games. Obviously, he's not going to be this guy next year. He's not going to be the 7th, 8th, not even 9th inning guy next year. But he's a guy that when you're, like I said, when you're constructing that bullpen, you really like to see guys that can strike guys out. And Ryan Burr is definitely one of those guys.
We'll see Burr first, likely Yarbrough next, maybe someone in between, though. Before we get to that, though, Shane Baz will pitch. And before we get to that, let's go back to baseball control. Here's Show Ali.
Thanks very much, guys. Welcome back inside Baseball Control, everyone. Show Ali with you as we await first pitch at the Trop in St. Petersburg, Florida. Ryan Burr, as Ben and Chris were talking about, will open for the Jays. We'll likely see Ryan Yarbrough for the bulk of the work today. Shane Baz will go for the Rays. And as we await first pitch, something else to keep an eye on down the stretch here with 7 games to go. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. continues to make a push in the record books. Now, we can probably spend a few minutes talking about Vladdy every single day because he's been that good, but a reminder that Vladdy actually has a chance to do something in these last 7 games that not many Blue Jays have ever done, which is reach the 200 hits plateau in a single season. So he enters today's game at 191 hits, which he had 3 of yesterday. Great stuff from Vladdy as usual. That actually ties him again at 191 for 10th all-time in a single season in franchise history. Ties him with the 2021 season of Bo Bichette and the 2007 season of Alex Rios. So only 5 Blue Jays have ever had 200 hits or more in a single year. Vernon Wells in 2003 tops the list, 215 for him. Tony Fernandez in 1986, 213. Paul Molitor in 1903. 211. Shannon Stewart in 01 had 202. And John Olerud, also in 93, had exactly 200 hits. So Vladdy now 9 hits shy of 200. Something to keep an eye on today and for the rest of the week, all the way to next Sunday, which, of course, is the final day of the regular season. All right, let's check on the Bet365 standings update. Bet365 is where you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet. You can even make a bet while the game is still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. In the AL East, one team has already clinched a playoff spot. That's the New York Yankees. They are 91-64. The Orioles are 86-69. The Rays now are 77-78, while the Red Sox got rained out yesterday. They're playing a doubleheader against the Twins. They are 76-78. They stay there after yesterday. They will play 2 today in Boston against Minnesota. The Blue Jays are 73-82. They have been mathematically eliminated from the 2024 playoffs. If you're curious, the only other American League team to have clinched a playoff spot entering play today are the Cleveland Guardians. They are 90-66. And it's funny, despite losing last night, the Guardians have actually also clinched their division as well, as the Royals also lost yesterday to the Giants. So the Guardians, the winners of the AL Central in 2024. In the wildcard race, something to keep an eye on. The Twins, as we talked about, will play the doubleheader. They currently occupy the 3rd wildcard spot with the Tigers, who actually beat the Orioles in a thriller last night. They are just a half game back of the Twins in the race to the playoffs. So we'll be monitoring that until the very end of the regular season. Let's get to the starting lineups. Here's John Schneider's lineup. Nathan Lucas is batting leadoff. He is in right field. Ernie Clement is batting second. He is at shortstop. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is DHing. He is batting third. Spencer Horwitz is cleaning up. He is at first base. Addison Barger is batting 5th at third base. Leo Jimenez is batting 6th at second base. Jonathan Clase is in center field batting 7th. Batting 8th is Joey Loperfido. He is in left field. Tyler Heineman bats ninth. He is catching today. For Kevin Cash, Dylan Carlson is batting leadoff. He is in left field. Brandon Lau is DHing. He is batting second. Junior Caminero is batting third at third base. Jonathan Aranda, he of the many runs over these past couple of games. He's batting cleanup. He's at first base. Johnny DeLuca is in center field, batting fifth. Batting sixth is Josh Lowe in right field. At second base is Jose Caballero. He is batting seventh. Batting eighth is Ben Rortvedt. He is catching. And Taylor Walls is batting ninth. He is at shortstop. Shane Baz pitches for the Tampa Bay Rays. We are just very close to first pitch, getting close. Let's get you over to the action with the call of today's game, the final road game of the season. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. The Blue Jays and the Rays about to get underway in the finale of this series. Shane Baz is on the hill warming up for the Rays. The right-hander, 6'2", 25 years old in his third season. 3-3 with a 3.21 ERA in 12 starts. A lot of his year and a lot of his career so far limited by injury, but he's been very effective when healthy.
Yeah, and he's obviously has a ton of upside. He was a first rounder, 12th overall in 2017. Just really hasn't put it all together. A lot of injuries, but he does have the big fastball. He's got great off-speed stuff. He kind of reminds me of Taj Bradley, to be honest. The Blue Jays struggled against him yesterday.
Blue Jays only scored 1 against Bradley yesterday, 2 overall, and that's their run total for the entire series. There has only been 6 runs from these two teams in the first 2 games. Baz, the righty, kicks and delivers to Nathan Lucas, and the first pitch of the day is hit in the air left field. Going back, Dylan Carlson, backpedaling and twisting. He makes the catch in his first start of the series. 1 pitch and 1 out for Baz. Time of the first pitch is 1:40 Eastern. Roof is closed, as it always is at Tropicana Field. Nate Tomlinson umpires the plate with Derek Thomas at first, Larry Vanover at second, and David Rackley at third. Ernie Clement hitting second today for the Blue Jays. Comes up now, the Blue Jays shortstop. Baz's pitch. High ball 1. For Shane Baz, it's that mid to high 90s four-seamer that leads his mix, but he'll throw a slider, a curve, and a changeup too. 1-0. Called strike, 1-1. You mentioned Baz was a first-rounder. That was actually by the Pirates, 12th overall in 2017, out of a high school in Tomball, Texas, near Houston. 1-1. Way upstairs, 2-1. Stop me if you've heard this before, but in a trade that the Rays did really well on and the Pirates did not so well on, Baz was dealt over to Tampa Bay after the 2018 season. Or rather at the deadline, 2-1. Swing and a foul back, 2-2. Chris Archer, who was great for the Rays at the time, went over to Pittsburgh, and the Rays got Baz, Tyler Glasnow, and Austin Meadows in the deal, and they'd end up flipping Meadows for Isaac Paredes.
So you're saying that the Rays won that trade?
They dominated it. 2-2. Fastball called strike 3. 96 on the outside corner, freezes Ernie Clement, and there are 2 down.
Well, if Baz is going to be living down there, going black to black with that fastball, the Blue Jays offense is going to have another tough day. Ernie Clement kind of just watches that pitch go and then slowly walks back to the dugout. A heck of a pitch from Baz.
Righty grabs for the rosin bag before he faces the DH, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Works from a stretch position, does Baz. His pitch outside. First inning is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. 3-hit day for Guerrero yesterday. The 1-0 pitch is hit back foul, 1-1. Three hits brought the batting average up to .324. 42 doubles, 30 home runs, and 99 RBIs. 1-1. Swing and a chopper hit to short. Charging in, Walls fields it chest high and throws over to first. to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Shane Baz in the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first, where Ryan Burr starts off the bullpen day next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Next pitch, Moniak takes off. It's low a ball, throw down to second. They got him!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRouche, Show Ali, our host, Nick Blackmore, our producer, and Tom Young, our technical director. No score, bottom one, Ryan Burr on the mound, and a first pitch slider waved at and missed by Dylan Carlson, 0-1. Burr starting for the Blue Jays today, but really more of an opener. Will pitch maybe an inning plus, could go 2, 0-1. Slider outside, 1-1, and then either the Blue Jays plan to bring Ryan Yarbrough in right after him, or maybe if it's a bunch of righties, they'll go to someone else and then to Yarbrough. 1-1. Fastball up and away, 2-1.
Well, you know I love some Ryan Yarbrough.
I know you love Ryan Yarbrough. We should get a healthy dose of Yarbrough today. First, it's Burr making his 31st appearance of the year. His 2-1 slider is outside, 3-1 against Dylan Carlson. Burr with a 3.72 ERA in 29 innings. This is technically his third start, but he also started the resumed game in Boston, so really his fourth. 3-1. Fastball fouled off, 3-2. And in these opening scenarios, if you count the Boston one, he has not allowed a run in 4 1/3 innings. Facing off with Dylan Carlson, switch-hitting left fielder, who makes his first start of the series right at the top of the Rays order. No Yandy Diaz today. 3-2. Slider swung on and missed. Strike 3. Burr battles back from down 3-1 to get the punch out to start his day.
Yeah, and that was a good slider right there. It was a strike right down the middle. You could tell that Carlson was expecting something hard way behind that slider. Kind of just flails at it just a little bit. But like we talked about before the game, Ryan Burr has been really, really impressive. I don't know what next year holds for him, but his stuff is the stuff that I want in a bullpen.
Burr's first pitch to Brandon Lau hit foul by the left-handed batter, 0-1. Burr's been on a big run recently. Coming into this game, 1 earned run in his last 10 appearances, going back 9 1/3 innings. 0-1. Fastball, ugly swing and miss. Nothing in 2.
Well, when you have a nasty slider like Ryan Burr has, those are the types of swings you get when you throw that fastball to the top of the zone. Pretty awkward.
Lau tried to hold up as he saw it going high, but couldn't. Now the 0-2. Fastball again upstairs. This time Lau checks his swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A hit yesterday for Brandon Lau, a 1-for-4 day. Batting .244. The 1-2 pitch is tagged down the right field line, but it's going to slice foul.
Somebody tried to catch that with a With a bare hand. That's not a good idea. That ball was tattooed.
108 off the bat. You do not want to stick your hand out at that one. And it bounced off their hand, rolled down a tarp to some other fans. So they didn't even get the baseball out of that effort.
Someone needs to get that guy the baseball.
1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gets him on a slider below the knees, and it's back-to-back strikeouts for Burr in the first.
And how about that? Ryan Burr now has 42 strikeouts in 29 2/3 innings. I like those numbers.
You hear it again and again with teams trying to improve bullpens. You want swing and miss stuff. Obviously, you got to limit homers and you have to limit walks first and foremost. But if you can do that, you want strikeouts too. Pitch now to Junior Caminero, inside with the fastball, ball 1.
And the reason for that, it's pretty obvious. When you have a guy in scoring position and you bring in, let's say, a Ryan Burr, you want him to strike that batter out. It's pretty simple.
1-0 pitch, down and away, 2-0.
Or at least have the stuff to be able to strike that guy out.
Yeah, often you're not getting a clean inning as a reliever. You're coming in when a starter might be faltering. 2-0. Swing and a miss at a slider that bounced on the plate. You can see the big movement, forcing whips there on pitches not even close to the zone. 2-1.
Well, I don't know if I'd throw that pitch. A bouncing breaking ball and a 2-0 count with 2 outs in the inning.
Fooled the 20-year-old Caminero, who's playing in just his 37th game of the year. 2-1. Fastball high, 3-1. Two outs and the base is empty. No score, bottom of the first. Blue Jays in their all grays today. Rays in their light blues, white pants. 3-1. Swing and a line drive, left field. Going back low Perfito. It bounces past him and toward the wall. Caminero around first. Clase picks it up and gets it back in, but it'll be a double for Junior Caminero with 2 outs.
Well, that's just a glimpse of what Caminero can do. He hammered that baseball into the gap. A hanging breaking ball from Ryan Burr. Caminero just sits back on it and absolutely drills it into the gap. That's a nice swing.
And I said past Low Perfito. I should clarify. He had no play on that ball. That went over Low Perfito and bounced into the wall.
Caminero just 20 years old.
Yeah, he looks like a potential monster for the Rays. Took a little bit to get going, but over the last 2 or so weeks, he's been really good. He's got hits in all 3 games now of this series, and here's Jonathan Aranda, the best offensive player in the series. Slider for a strike from Burr, and he's ahead 0-1.
I tell you what, though, Caminero doesn't look 20 years old. Is it the big beard that makes him look a little bit older?
He's got a big frame.
Yeah.
He's not a twig up there. He's a little bit filled out. 0-1. Fastball called just outside. Burr tilts his head. It was close. It's 1-1. Aranda with decisive homers in both of the games so far. Solo shot in the 1-0 win on Friday. Hit a 2-run homer yesterday that made it 3-0 Rays, and the Rays held on to win 3-2. Burr peaks at second at Caminero. One more look in the 1-1. Slider fouled back, 1-2.
1-2 count. What do you think Ryan Burr is going to throw?
I think he's going to throw a slider.
I'd go back foot slider right here. When in doubt, throw your best pitch.
Well, he's only got 2 options, the 4-seamer or the slider. Here's 1-2. 4-seamer up top, and he misses a little bit too high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Or that. Like you said, he only has 2 pitches, so I guess you flip a coin.
Maybe that pitch helps set up a slider down. Burr's already thrown 20 in this inning. Ryan Yarbrough is loosening up. 2-2. Fastball misses outside. 3-2. If you were looking for a spot to bring in Yarbrough, Josh Lowe, the number 6 hitter, bats left, and Ben Rortvedt, the number 8 hitter, bats left. So maybe somewhere in that pocket of the order, you start Yarbrough's day. Right now, the cleanup hitter, Aranda at the plate, runner on second. 3-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Buries that slider and punches out Aranda. 3 strikeouts in the inning. A rounded double from Caminero. No score going to the second. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Try on mom jeans. 80s and 90s pop, so soft and nostalgic. It'll have you decorating your kitchen with country geese. From Celine Dion, Wilson Phillips, and more. Indulge in the allure of mom jeans. Now for a limited time on Channel 17. And available year-round as one of over 200 extra channels on the SiriusXM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
In a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
SiriusXM has everything a college football fan needs.
He's in trouble and down he goes. The ball comes out.
All the big games are on the SiriusXM app.
Down the sidelines midfield. It's a race. Picking him up, putting him down.
Plus, hear daily in-depth analysis on College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
There's not a lot of holes or weaknesses on that football team, and they've got the goods where you want to have the goods for a championship caliber roster.
Our experts get you ready for game day every day on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy football players, from start-sit decisions to waiver wire advice. Win your fantasy football league with Fantasy Sports Radio. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
The second inning is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. Spencer Horwitz takes the first pitch of the second for a strike from Shane Baz. It's 0-1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Thanks for joining us today. No score, Blue Jays and Rays. Baz, the righty, kicks and delivers. Threw the changeup in there right down the middle for strike 2.
Pretty good changeup right there. Good arm speed, good finish on that thing. Just a little bit of action around the plate area, but 86 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour difference than his fastball. That's a pretty good difference.
Going to be the main non-fastball pitch he'll throw to left-handed hitters. Time's going to be asked for by Horwitz and granted by Nate Tomlinson, so a little bit of a break before the 0-2. Now we're ready to go. Baz set and the pitch. Fouled back. Shane Baz was ruthlessly efficient in the first inning. 9 pitches to get Lucas Clement Guerrero ahead of Horwitz in 2 pitches, but he can be a tough guy to put away. Fouled off the 0-2 a second ago. Here's another one on the way from Shane Baz. And he bounced it, almost hit Horwitz in the foot. He did hit him. Just tipped Spencer Horwitz, who dumps the bat, takes off the elbow guard. I think Kevin Cash will look at this, but for now, Horwitz walking down to first.
Well, that's a strange one. You rarely see a big league pitcher choke off a fastball like Baz did right there. Nowhere near the strike zone, nowhere near the target. And I guess it did hit him.
I thought he had jumped out of the way, but maybe it clipped that foot on the way by. The lead right foot for Horwitz, so he's on first, nobody out. The pitch to Addison Barger. Swing and a high pop-up foul third base side. Long run Caminero on the side warning track, reaches up and makes the catch, contending with that short sidewall. A nice play, and there's one out.
Yeah, that was a really nice play. It looked like it came back a little bit. He kind of put his arms against that net, and then he drifted back just a little bit. But again, that roof is really tough. It's a really light, almost white, and it kind of hides the ball. But Caminero with a nice play there.
Reminds you of old Minnesota, where they used to lose balls up there all the time because of the white ceiling. Leo Jimenez up now in the pitch. Outside, ball 1. 0-0, Blue Jays and Rays. Horwitz on first, 1 out, top of the second. Baz on the first base side of the rubber, set just above the belt. Is 1-0. High with the heater. 2 balls, no strikes.
Do you think the architect was thinking, let's do something absurd? Let's make
no one's ever done this before.
Yeah.
I think you could ask a couple questions of the architect potentially. 2-0. Called strike, 2-1. Long blonde hair for Shane Baz. Peeks out of the back of his hat. Blonde beard and mustache, although the beard's kind of dirty blonde. The mustache is a much lighter shade of blonde for Baz. His 2-1. Raking ball misses off the plate outside. 3-1. Makes it a hitter's count now for Leo Jimenez. .218 batter in 58 games this year. 4 homers. 3-1. Swing and a line drive. Caught on a leap by the second baseman Caballero. Throw back to first and it bounces away. Horwitz taken off from first to second base. He'll advance 90 feet on the error, but Jimenez is retired. Runner on second, 2 outs.
Well, that was an incredible play from Jose Caballero. He was shaded towards second base, almost right behind second base. Leaped in the air, made that catch. And I don't know why he threw that ball to first base. Spencer Horwitz was going back to first base while he threw that baseball. Really had no chance. Throws it away, and Spencer Horwitz ends up at second base. But what a play from Caballero.
Yeah, Horwitz didn't even need to slide to get back in. He was getting there, but Caballero gets the out. Now Jonathan Clase hitting. In his second game as a Blue Jay, he takes strike 1 on the outside edge. We got a glimpse of Clase 2 days ago, and he was pretty solid. Came up with a base hit, was hit by a pitch. He did steal a base, but overslid the bag and was called out trying to run to third. 0-1. Swing and a foul back, 0-2.
Well, I call that having too much speed.
Seriously.
When you're so fast that you slide right past the bag. Pretty impressive, though.
Switch hitter bats from the left side. Red arm sleeve on his left arm. Red batting gloves. But a blue hand protector on his lead right hand. Oh-2. Down and in with the curveball, and it's laid off. Or Clase lays off on it, rather. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's a good take right there. It looked like a strike and then kind of dove underneath that strike zone. Clase with the good take.
Horwitz on second base with 2 outs. No score, top of the second in the 1-2. Fouled back. Fastball at the top of the zone, and Clase did well to slice it back into the netting.
I like that 2-strike approach. You can tell he's cut down on that swing, just fouling that baseball off to stay alive.
Oz is set, looking down at the ground. Now peeks at second in the 1-2. Swing and a fly ball, left center field. Going back, Carlson has a beat on it and makes the catch to end the inning. No runs for the Blue Jays, 1 error, 1 left. And we go to the bottom of the second, no score. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Fanel Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the 9th. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend for the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikey's accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
It's Ernie Clement with the RBI single. 1-0 Toronto.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the second inning, Ryan Burr returning to the mound for the Blue Jays. The opener continues in a scoreless game. I'm Ben Schulman next to Chris LaRue. Burr's pitch to Johnny DeLuca is a slider outside, ball 1.
And we saw Ryan Yarbrough warming up in the first inning. They obviously don't want Ryan Burr to throw 25, 30, 35 pitches, and I'm assuming that's why Yarbrough was warming up.
Burr on 23 as he delivers home. It's a swing and a miss at another bounced slider. 1-1, and the movement right now on that slider is outrageous. He struck out 3 in the first. DeLuca, a right-handed hitter, bends the back right knee a lot more than the front left. 1-1 is lasered foul right side. A fastball up and in, 1-2.
And a fastball up and in at 93. What do you think's coming next? Probably a bounce slider like he threw on the first pitch. Johnny DeLuca was nowhere near it.
The 1-2. Bounce the slider, but this time DeLuca lays off.
Pretty good take from DeLuca.
He did what 3 others couldn't in that first inning. All 3 strikeouts coming on the slider. 2-2. Another slider, and this one's popped up right side. Foul. It's going to go into the seats.
I like Tyler Heineman back there. He's instilling confidence. He's pointing his glove out at the pitcher, telling them good job, nice pitch, all those things. I mean, it's important.
2-2. Fastball hit in the air, center field. Clase started back. Now he'll jog forward and jump into the catch for the first out.
That was an odd catch.
It was.
Jumping to make that catch that was at his face.
It will be the last out of the day for Ryan Burr. His job as the opener is done. Records 4 outs and 5 batters faced. Throws almost 30 pitches. And he'll fist pump his teammates and hand the ball over to John Schneider as Ryan Yarbrough enters the game. We'll be back in a moment. Let's go over to baseball control in this scoreless game. Here's Show Ali.
Thank you very much, guys. Don't forget, we do have Jays Talk this evening. I have a solo edition of the post-game show. I'll need your phone calls and your texts. You can send me one, 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line, always open. As usual, standard data and messaging rates may apply. We'll throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out. Let's check the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised a trophy in 1992. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every play at your local St. Louis Bar and Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. It's a Sunday, so let's check the NFL scoreboard. The early games all well underway. Giants at Browns. This game tied at 7. Devin Singletary with the TD for New York. Cleveland getting an early score from Amari Cooper, though at the 2-minute warning in the first half, the Giants are at the Cleveland 3-yard line. Packers at Titans. No Jordan Love in this game. Still inactive with the sprained MCL, so Malik Willis getting another start, this time against his former team. He has a rushing score and well over 60 yards rushing as well. The Packers are ahead 17-7 with a couple minutes to go in the first half. Cornerback Jair Alexander also with a pick 6 for Green Bay. Other scores around the league. Denver Broncos lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 17-0. Baker Mayfield not having a good day today. The Vikings lead the Texans 14-0. Sam Darnold with a pair of touchdowns there. One to Aaron Jones, one to Justin Jefferson. The Chargers lead the Steelers 10-7. The Eagles are trailing the Saints 3-0 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. And the Bears currently trail the Colts 7-0. The only touchdown in that game is a rushing score from Jonathan Taylor. Blue Jays baseball, as always, is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action in our game. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue with the call.
Thank you very much, Joe. For the first time in his career, Ryan Yarbrough pitches against the Tampa Bay Rays. Longtime Ray and lefty in the set, and his pitch to Josh Lowe. Fastball high, ball 1. Yarbrough putting together a very impressive season, especially with the Blue Jays. Lefty's 1-0. Called strike. On the season, a 3.36 ERA in 91 innings, with the Blue Jays a 2.28 ERA in almost 24 innings. His 1-1. Fastball called outside, looked pretty good. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And we were talking about when Ryan Burr was pitching how coveted he is because of his high strikeout rate. Ryan Yarbrough is the exact opposite. 57 strikeouts in 91 innings this season, but I still want him in my bullpen.
2-1. Swing and a foul back, 2-2.
A strike thrower, a ground ball inducer. He's that long guy that you can really trust out of that bullpen. He's been good for a long time.
He gets outs at the end of the day. Left-hander shakes off a sign, now sets. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. There's the rare strikeout from Yarbrough. Pounded the sinker down and in and gets the whiff from low. 2 outs.
Well, when you throw 85, 87, 88 miles an hour, you'd think that throwing inside is probably not the right pitch to throw. But as you see right there with that swing from Josh Lowe, really awkward, way behind that fastball, it is in fact a good pitch to throw.
So 2 down now, nobody on, no score, bottom of the second, and the pitch to Jose Caballero outside, ball 1. Ryan Yarbrough spent the first 5 seasons of his major league career exclusively as a Tampa Bay Ray, 2018 to 2022. 1-0. Check swing. He did go around on a 4-seamer outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Yarbrough won 16 games as a rookie for the Rays, pitching mostly as a bulk reliever. Threw almost 150 innings, but only made 6 starts. 1-1. Bunt shown, pulled back, pitch outside, 2-1. In 2021, Yarbrough threw 155 innings for the Rays, which led Tampa Bay that year. And in total, almost 600 innings as a Ray over 5 seasons. Lefty rocks and deals. Caballero pops it up really high back behind the plate and out of play, 2-2.
And like I mentioned in his last game, I still don't know why the Dodgers got rid of him. He was having a pretty solid season with them.
And they need pitching, as we mentioned last game, too. I wonder if they've seen what he's done and are wondering if they should have held on to him. 2-2. Curveball hit in the air center field. Routine for Clase. Jogs forward, makes the catch, and ends the inning. Between Burr and Yarbrough, a 1-2-3. Bottom of the second, we go to the third, 0-0, Blue Jays and Rays. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Which Looney Dogger are you? The fork and knifer, splatterer, condiment queen, or Big Dipper? This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. You will have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the stadium. Then show the world your Looney Dog style. Because whether you're the mustard maven or ketchup king, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. So don't miss out on this deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's, every Tuesday home game.
We're 2menintruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2menintruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2menintruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2menintruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
A game-tying blast from Bo Bichette.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Windsor Center and Windsor North, Ontario. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com. Canada's #1 rust protection. Joey Loperfido takes a fastball high to start the third inning. Ball 1. 0-0 Blue Jays and Rays. Left-handed hitter looks out at Shane Baz. And the 1-0 pitch from the righty. Swing and a miss at a change. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Not a lot of offense this series for the Blue Jays. They'd love to score first for the first time in the set. 1-1. Changeup at the top of the zone, strike 2. And he's had success early on with the change, although he's left it up a ton.
Yeah, he hasn't really been getting on top of it, but if you look at the velocity, 84, 85 of those last 2 changeups that he's thrown, fastball 96, 97, that is a huge drop.
1-2 pitch. Curveball down and in. Loperfido started to go but holds back. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Baz hasn't had a ton of big league success or even big league chances for that matter, but he's got very good stuff. He's got command of all his pitches. He'll be a good one.
2-2. Outside, ball 3. To your point, it's only his 22nd career start, despite the fact he debuted in 2021. Had elbow surgery that had him missing part of 2022. 3-2. Fouled off, still 3-2. So he entered 2022 a little bit late, recovering from arthroscopic elbow surgery, and then made only 6 starts before hitting the injured list with Tommy John, which cost him the rest of 2022, all of 2023, and a decent bit of this year, too. 3-2 pitch. Check swing on a pitch down and in. Appeal down to third. He did go, says David Rackley, so that'll be a strikeout. Loperfido can't believe it. He sighs and walks back to the dugout. 1 down.
And Shane Baz is having a pretty good season. Obviously a smaller sample size. Just his 13th game started this season. But I look at the number of hits that he's given up. He's given up just 50 hits in 67 and a third innings. That is very, very good.
He's been getting better as the year goes on. The last 5 starts have been really good for Baz. His pitch to Tyler Heineman, outside, ball 1. Last 5 starts, he's gone at least 5 innings every time, and at most has given up 2 runs. His 1-0 to the switch hitter Heineman. Swing and a miss at the change. In his last start against the Boston Red Sox, Baz pitched 7 innings, allowed only 2 hits and 2 runs, while punching out 6. 1-1 pitch, foul tipped, another change. It's been changeup heavy in this third, 1-2.
Yeah, especially to those left-handed hitters. It's a good one. I'm telling you, when you can really drop that velocity by 10, 12, 13 miles an hour, it is almost impossible to hit, especially with the good arm action, with that good with that same arm speed as a fastball.
1-2. Swing and a rocket foul left side. Heineman with a late offer there at the fastball, shoots it foul down the left field line, and it's still 1-2. Heineman looking for his first hit of the year, only his 5th game of the season, and his 2nd start as a Blue Jay. 1-2. Fastball called strike 3 right down the middle. Heineman likely looking for the change up there, couldn't pull the trigger, and it's back-to-back strikeouts, 2 down.
Well, he was looking for something other than that, but even if you're looking for that breaking ball down, you're looking for the changeup, you still have to react fastball and at least try to fight it off. That fastball was middle, and he just watched it go by, completely fooled on that pitch.
3 strikeouts now on the day for Baz, who flips the lineup over and faces Nathan Lucas. Fastball called strike, 0-1. Lucas batting .321 after his flyout in the first. This is his 16th game of the season. 0-1. Swing and a foul ball off of his right ankle. Lucas pops up quickly, but is testing out that ankle. Clearly, it hurt him a little bit. It's 0-2.
Yeah, that might have got him on the inside part of the foot. He wears a little half shin guard, but yeah, that got him in that unprotected area down there, and he just crumpled.
30-year-old right fielder back up on his feet, walking back to the plate. 2 outs in the bases empty, no score, top of the third.
He doesn't look happy, though.
No. Well, he knows that unless he gets on and scores and they keep the inning going, he's got no time to rest that ankle before he goes back out on the field. 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, elevates the heater, and Boz strikes out the side in the top of the third. Still scoreless, middle of 3. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your Sirius XM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on Sirius XM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. Sirius XM Sports. We're more than just a game.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Each week, I talk with a Baseball Hall of Famer about the challenges they overcame to become an all-time great.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
My legs started shaking.
They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the all-new SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's Justin Turbin at your 24/7 home for hoops all year long is SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 and the SiriusXM app. Just search NBA Radio.
That Radio Network.
Ryan Yarbrough settles onto the hill as we get ready for the bottom of the third inning at Tropicana Field. 0-0 Blue Jays in race. Yarbrough's pitch to Ben Rortvedt. Fastball for strike 1. Third batter that the lefty will face in this outing. Could have a lot in the tank, Yarbrough. He last pitched on Wednesday, but only 2 innings against Texas. 1 pitch hit foul, 0-2.
Yeah, after this game, the Blue Jays have 3 straight games, so I'm assuming that they would probably want to save the bullpen, give Ryan Yarbrough maybe 3, 4, 5 innings, I would imagine. Don't have an off day until Thursday.
0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the curve, and Yarbrough punches out a second batter out of 3. There's 1 down in the bottom of the third inning.
Well, that's pretty impressive right there. 73 miles an hour with that curveball. You can see how awkward that swing was from Ben Rortvedt. Nowhere near that pitch, but it's always impressive to see how slow he can get that breaking ball. A lot like Chris Bassett. Different shape, obviously, but the speed anyways.
Pitch down to Taylor Walls. Switch hitter batting right. Fouls it off. 0-1. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. Home plate is home plans. Score the run with Timbermart.ca. Find a major league selection of winning plays for house, garage, and backyard sheds. Visit Timbermart.ca and win the game with Canada's Building Center. Next pitch popped up foul, right side, and into the seats. 0-2. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Show Ali, our host today. He'll host Blue Jays Talk after the game. Nick Blackmore, our producer. Tom Young, our technical director. Oh, 2. Called strike 3. Fastball at the knees, freezes Walls, and that's 3 strikeouts already for Yarbrough. 2 down.
Well, like we mentioned, Ryan Yarbrough only has 57 strikeouts in 91 innings this year coming into this ball game, but That pitch right there is absolutely filthy. 88 at the bottom of the strike zone. I mean, not much you can do with that pitch.
So 2 outs and the pitch to Dylan Carlson, the top of the order hitter. It's a curve for strike 1.
Unless you were expecting it, because then you can absolutely hammer an 88-mile-an-hour pitch.
But no one ever seems to be expecting what Ryan Yarbrough is offering him. His 0-1. Outside. He's not even really trying to strike guys out, but it seems to be happening right now. Usually he's getting his outs a little bit quicker pitch-wise than strikeouts by forcing a lot of weak contact early in counts. 1-1. Check swing. Pitch called up, I believe. They peel down to first, and it's no swing. It's 2-1. Bases empty, 2 outs, no score, bottom 3, and the 2-1. Swing and a miss. Another ugly wave there on an 87-mile-per-hour four-seamer. 2-2.
I mean, that was the most awkward one of the day. He basically swung at that baseball when Tyler Heineman caught it.
2-2. Check swing on a fastball away. Appeal down to first. Again, no swing, says Derek Thomas. Full count. Carlson going through his motion of swinging before he steps back in. You can see how crossed up Yarbrough is getting a lot of these hitters. Here's 3-2. Fastball fouled back. That's 88 right down the middle, and Carlson just had to get a piece of it to stay alive.
Yeah, that looked like there's no way he's throwing a fastball in this count, right? And then he threw a fastball, and there was that awkward late swing just trying to stay alive.
3-2 again. Inside with the curve, ran off the plate, and that's ball 4.
Obviously not the location that Ryan Yarbrough wanted for that pitch right there. He was probably trying to throw that thing right down the middle, induce weak contact, induce maybe an early swing, but that one right there was nowhere near the zone.
So that brings Carlson to first and Brandon Lau up to the plate. With no Yandy Diaz, this is the hitter with the most cachet in the Ray lineup. The pitch. Outside, ball 1. Lau sitting on 19 homers. And if he hits another one this season, it'll be 3 20-homer seasons in the last 4. (1-0). Swing and a miss. That's already impressive to hit 20 homers 3 times out of 4 years. But when you factor in that Lau has only played 110 games in 1 of the last 4 seasons, it becomes even more impressive. 1-1. Called strike.
So if he was going to play a full season, he might be a 30-35 homer guy.
In 2021, the only real full season he's played, he played 149 games. He hit 39 homers and drove in 99. 1-2. Runner takes off, swing and a miss, strike 3. Stolen base doesn't matter because Yarbrough strikes out another. How about 3 strikeouts for the lefty in the bottom of the 3rd, and we go to the 4th, 0-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Shohei Ohtani. There it is! The first player in Major League Baseball to have a 50-50 season.
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of SiriusXM.
This is a remarkable freaking accomplishment.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
It's incredible. Guy's unreal.
And expert analysis on MLB Network Radio.
He is the type of player that can evolve into anything he wants to be.
Live sports talk when you need it is on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app.
A new year in the NBA is right around the corner, and NBA Radio has you covered.
Tatum muscles it up and in, scoring a foul.
Our experts are breaking down the entire league.
That's going to be a fun team to watch.
And bringing you inside the locker room.
It is a must-win game.
Basketball season is just weeks away, and your 24/7 home for hoops is SiriusXM NBA Radio, Channel 86, and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
It's the fourth inning, presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19-plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. Top of the fourth, scoreless game. Ernie Clement is up, and Shane Baz with a breath and the pitch. Curveball, strike one. You might be using Bet365 on some of the football games going on today. We're going to get to the out-of-town scoreboard in a second after Ernie Clement hits. 0-1. Swing and a liner, right center field, screaming and down in the gap, cut off by DeLuca, the center fielder. That'll limit Clement to a single on a nice play out in center by DeLuca, but it's very well struck for Ernie and the first Blue Jay hit of the day. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every play at your local St. Louis Bar and Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. First, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. up to the plate. Runner on first, no outs. The pitch. Inside, ball one. Doubleheader today involving the final wild card team in the American League right now. The Twins and Red Sox play two at Fenway Park after a postponement yesterday. 1-0. High, 2-0. Alex Cora thrown out in the top of the first inning of a doubleheader. No problem for the Red Sox. They're up 8-1 on the Twins in the sixth.
Alex Cora was like, I don't want any part of this long day.
He gets to watch it with a beer on the couch. 2-0. Swing and a rocket liner to left field for a base hit. Picked up by Carlson. Clement up to second. Guerrero waited back on that spinning curve and smoked it over the shortstop walls.
Well, that was as good as it gets for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He hit that right on the screws. Like you said, just a spinning hanger right over the middle. Shane Baz is lucky that Vlad didn't get any loft underneath that baseball. It would have been 500 feet if he did.
Hit it 109 off the bat for the Blue Jays' second hit of the day, and now Spencer Horwitz with a chance to start the scoring. First and second, nobody out, and the pitch. Strike one. Horwitz hit by a pitch in the second inning. It skimmed his right foot. 0-1. Foul tip, 0-2. In the football world on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, Packers beating the Titans 20-7. That one just out of halftime. At half, Giants up on the Browns 21-7, and the Colts up on the Bears at halftime 7-0.
Out of those three games, which one are you most intrigued by?
The Packers, and it's not even close. Nick Blackmore's Eagles being shut out at halftime by the Saints 3-0 is the score in favor of the Saints right now. 0-2 pitch to Horwitz, and the noted Ravens fan fouls it back into the backstop, still 0-2. You got the Vikings pitching a shutout against the Texans through two quarters, 14-0 Minnesota. Chargers are up 10-7 on the Steelers just out of the half, and the Broncos surprisingly up 20-7 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at halftime. 0-2. Swing and a liner, foul.
Some good games going on right now.
Some real good games. All of our out-of-town scores brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. In another way in the football world, Manchester City and Arsenal, the top two finishers in the Premier League last year, faced off for the first time this season in a wild game that ended in a 2-2 draw. Arsenal went up 2-1, had a red card just before halftime, and Manchester City scored in the 8th minute of added time, 98th minute of the game. John Stones, the center back, scored to make it a 2-2 draw. 0-2 to Horwitz. Outside, 1-2.
So Nick Blackmore is not happy right now.
Yeah, it's not been his most stress-free morning as an Arsenal fan himself.
No.
Back on the diamond, it's 0-0, Blue Jays and Rays. Clement on second, Guerrero on first, nobody out. Right on left, the 1-2 pitch from Bonds. Swing and a miss, strike three. Got him to chase the curveball at the ankles. And for Boz, a 5th punch out of the day.
That is a huge strikeout for Boz. Runners on first and second, nobody out in this inning, and he gets Spencer Horwitz, a guy that really doesn't strike out all that often, but that curveball right there is a pretty good one, a little knuckle curve below the strike zone.
Boz struck out the side in the 3rd inning, but gave up hits to Clement and Guerrero to start the 4th. Now Addison Barger up. Boz's pitch. Sails to the backstop and ricochets back onto the field of play. Both runners will advance. That's huge for the Blue Jays. As Clement goes to 3rd, Guerrero goes to 2nd. There's no more double play, and a fly ball or a ground ball could give the Blue Jays the lead.
Well, Spencer Horwitz did his job, I guess. That was a wild pitch. We've seen him let go a couple of pitches today. That one right there, a changeup that sailed well wide of the strike zone, but earlier in the day we saw him really choke off a fastball. Once in a while he'll do that.
With that pitch, if that's a right-handed hitter in the box, that hits him right in the head. That's how high and outside it was. Instead, it's the left-handed hitter Barger, who's driven in 28 this year. Infield is back and Clement's speedy, so a ground ball should give the Blue Jays a lead. 1-0. High and outside, not nearly as much this time, but it's 2 balls, no strikes.
You ready for a big swing?
I am. 7 homers, 11 doubles for Barger. 2-0 pitch. He takes it down and in, ball 3.
That's a good take. When he was first called up to the big leagues this season, you would see him really muscle on those 2-0 pitches. He would get really big, really wild. That's a pretty good take right there on a good changeup.
Now the 3-0. Called strike. It was low with the fastball, but it was borderline, and Nate Tomlinson gives Boz the call, so it's a 3-ball, 1-strike count now on Barger. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, top of the 4th, no score. Boz kicks and fires, and the pitch bounces in, ball 4. It'll be a walk for Barger, and the bases are loaded for the Blue Jays.
Another good take right there from Addison Barger, and it was another changeup from Shane Boz below the strike zone. It actually bounced. But as Addison Barger with the good take, just takes his base and moves that line along.
That brings Kyle Snyder out to the mound, the pitching coach, to talk to Shane Boz, who had only allowed 1 base runner coming into this 4th inning, the hit by pitch against Horwitz. But 2 hits, a wild pitch, and then a walk this inning around a Horwitz strikeout. And the pitching coach giving the young righty some words of wisdom. We'll go back to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out of town scoreboard. Mentioned that Minnesota holds on to that final wild card spot. They're losing big to Boston right now. Chasing them half a game back are the Detroit Tigers, who beat the Orioles in extra innings yesterday and are up 3-0 on the Orioles in the 4th inning today. Harry Carpenter has homered. Spencer Torkelson has homered, and Trey Sweeney with an RBI double to make it a 3-0 Tiger advantage. Leo Jimenez now stepping in after Kyle Snyder departs back to the dugout. No score, Blue Jays and Rays. 1 out, top of the 4th. Boz with a breath in the pitch. Up and in, ball 1, and he's been all over the place this inning.
Yeah, he has absolutely lost it. Leo Jimenez has to be patient during this at-bat. Don't get too antsy just because the bases are loaded.
First baseman Aranda plays in. Everyone else back or around double play depth. 1-0. Outside, 2-0. You might be taking till you get a strike here at this point if you're Leo with the bases loaded.
I think so. I think especially with the way and how big his misses have been, you have to take in this situation.
2-0 pitch. Fastball down the middle. Jimenez swings and fouls it off. 2-1.
Well, obviously he's thinking a little bit differently than you and I.
I would give him an exception on that pitch. It is hittable.
Yeah, if you get a middle fastball, why not take a chance at it right there? But he has missed big, and it's a good thing for Leo.
Clement on third, Guerrero second, Barger first. 2-1. Swing and a pop-up foul out of play. 2-2. Jimenez with 17 RBIs in 58 games this year. Lined the ball sharply up the middle in the second inning, but a leaping catch by Jose Caballero prevented him from a hit. 2-2. Swing and a fly ball center field. Ranging to his right is DeLuca. He pauses and makes the catch. Tagging from third, Clement. He'll come in to score. The throw into third, but Guerrero beats it there. So a run in on the sac fly. Both Barger and Guerrero advance, and it's second and third for the Blue Jays, up 1-0 with 2 outs in the top of the fourth.
And if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you have to be okay with that. Leo Jimenez does a good job getting some loft underneath that baseball, hitting a deep fly ball. And Ernie Clement comes around to score, but pretty good job right there. A little sac fly and a 1-0 Blue Jays lead.
Some heads-up base running by Guerrero and Barger as well. Eliminating some forces there and now giving Jonathan Clase to drive in more. Giving him a chance to drive in more. The pitch. Inside, ball 1.
I would say especially from Addison Barger at first base. He's facing that play. He's waiting to see where Johnny DeLuca will throw that baseball. DeLuca threw it to third base. There was a lot of air time on that baseball, and he said, thanks for the extra base. If that throw goes to second, he has to stay at first.
1-0 pitch fouled back, 1-1. Clase adjusting his batting gloves. Tugs on his elbow protector for a second and steps back into the lefty box. 1-1 from Boz. Swing and a fly ball left center. Playable for Dylan Carlson, the left fielder. He stops, makes the catch, and ends the inning. Blue Jays take their first lead of the series. A run on 2 hits. Leo Jimenez with a sac fly, 2 left. But the Blue Jays up 1-0 middle of the fourth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hey, Blue Jays fans, are you ready to hit a home run with your next roof? Introducing GAF Timberline HDZ shingles, designed to keep your roof looking and feeling like a winner, rain or shine. GAF is proud to be the official shingle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Visit homedepot.ca and search GAF to learn more about how GAF.
What's up, baseball fans? Thanks for hanging out with us today for the Toronto Blue Jays game. Please make sure you hit that like button down below. It brings more fans into the chat. The more likes we get, the more fans that will be here to hang out with us. Well, we shut down this Toronto Blue Jays season. It's been a bit of a disappointment, but you know what? There's always next year. We're used to saying that as Toronto fans. Thanks for being here. Please hit that like button, and we'll see you guys back in the chat. Go Jays, go!
Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Bichette powers the ball to left field. Going back, Peralta. It's out of here.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Bottom of the fourth inning. Blue Jays up 1-0. Ryan Yarbrough pitching, and he deals to Junior Caminero. Called strike. Mentioned earlier, it's Yarbrough's first appearance against his former team in the Rays. Hasn't really faced any of these guys. Yarbrough, the lefty, is set, and he deals to Caminero. 0-1 pitch hit on the ground to third, picked up by Barger. A crow hop and throw across the diamond, 1 out.
Well, it's his first game, and he is absolutely dicing them up. Pretty good so far.
Only Rays that Yarbrough has faced are Yandy Diaz and Christopher Morel, who are both not in the lineup today. And that came when Yarbrough was with Kansas City, and he would have faced Diaz, and for Morel when he was with the Dodgers and would have faced the Cubs. 1-0 Blue Jays. Left on left pitch to Jonathan Aranda, and the fastball's popped up foul out of play. 0-1. Out of a bunch of great days so far, this one has probably started better than any for Ryan Yarbrough. 4 strikeouts, and he's allowed 1 base runner in 2 innings. 0-1. Called strike.
Not a strikeout guy, but he is quickly turning into one today, at least.
You'd think if any team could figure out what he's doing, it would be these guys, but they seem the most crossed up. The 0-2. Curveball watched outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One-two pitch. Curve again. That one even further outside. Easy layoff for Aranda. 2-2.
Yanked that one just a little bit. You can see the frustration in Ryan Yarbrough's face. Not a guy that yanks that curveball very often.
Pinpoint location is what he's known for. That and mixing speeds. 2-2. Fastball fouled back. 88 down the middle, and again they're late on that fastball. Two once more. Inside, ball 3. Somewhat poetic for the Blue Jays to be throwing Yarbrough as the bulk guy in Tampa, as he was part of the first wave of openers and bulk guys when the Rays kind of invented this strategy. 3-2. Called strike 3. Fastball on the outside corner. Freezes Aranda. Make it 5 Ks for Ryan Yarbrough.
And down and away at the bottom corner of that strike zone away from Aranda, you can see the frustration. That is a pinpoint fastball right there. You mentioned it. That's what he thrives on, that pinpoint accuracy. Doesn't get much better than that.
2 down, bases empty, bottom of the 4th. And his pitch to Johnny DeLuca. Outside, ball 1. DeLuca flied out in the 2nd inning, was the last batter to face Ryan Burr. 1-0. Called strike, and that is a gift and a half for Ryan Yarbrough. That pitch was well outside. It's 1-1.
Well, DeLuca immediately looked back at Nate Tomlinson and asked him where that pitch was.
1-1. Swing and a liner, right side sinking foul near the Rays bullpen. 1-2. Yarbrough is through 2 1/3 innings. He's thrown 39 pitches. Offering number 40. Swing and a grounder, foul, third base side. On the Yarbrough strikeouts, there's different notes that different stat organizations publish each day, and one said, hey, Ryan Yarbrough 9 strikeouts away from 600 career. Truthfully, I disregarded that for this game, like he's going to punch out 9 today, but he struck out 5. And here's his 1-2 to DeLuca. Swing and a flare to right center field, charging in Clase, but he can't get there in time. It's down for a base hit.
And that is a tough way to give up a base hit. 88 in on the black, in on the hands of DeLuca, and DeLuca just muscles that thing into center field right in front of Jonathan Clase. But an almost perfect pitch, just a tough result for Ryan Yarbrough.
Ninth batter that Yarbrough faces is the first one that came up with a hit against him, and now working with a runner on. The lefty goes up against Josh Lowe. Struck out Lowe to start his afternoon. Yarbrough kicks and deals. Breaking ball hit high to right field, not very deep. Charging in, Lucas makes a head-high catch and ends the inning. No runs on a hit, one left. 1-0 Blue Jays after 4. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, this is Eddie Vedder.
This is Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam. Hey, it's Jeff Ament. Dive deeper into our universe on our exclusive SiriusXM channel. With live tracks, B-sides, 3 complete concerts a day.
Unless you're actually here, you might not believe it.
And some of our favorite music we've handpicked for you.
Here's a good part, 100% commercial free. Pearl Jam Radio.
Channel 22. Or listen at home with the SiriusXM app.
SiriusXM has everything a college football fan needs.
He's in trouble and down he goes. The ball comes out.
All the big games are on the SiriusXM app.
Down the sidelines, midfield. It's a race. Picking them up, putting them down.
Plus, hear daily in-depth analysis on College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
There's not a lot of holes or weaknesses on that football team, and they've got the goods where you want to have the goods for a championship caliber roster.
Our experts get you ready for game day every day on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
This is Dave LaGreca, creator of the biggest pro wrestling show on the planet, Busted Open. Don't miss myself and my Hall of Fame cast and crew as we break down every story in and out of the ring and talk to the top names in the business, like the legend himself, The Undertaker.
I'm actually glad to be on a real show.
Catch Busted Open live every day from 9 to noon Eastern on SiriusXM Fight Nation, channel 156, and on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy football players, from start-sit decisions to waiver wire advice. Win your fantasy football league with Fantasy Sports Radio. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 5th at Tropicana Field, and the Blue Jays holding on to a 1-0 lead. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Chris LaRue. Joey Loperfido leads off against Shane Boz and hits the first pitch of the inning on the ground to second. Underhand flip Caballero to first. 1 out. 8-9-1 this inning for Boz. Loperfido retired. Now Tyler Heineman and Nathan Lucas on deck.
Well, Shane Boz was pretty erratic last inning with the fastball. It's good for him to get that first out of the way. Throws that fastball right down the middle. 94 miles an hour. Unfortunately for Joey Loperfido, he just rolls over.
I mean, for Boz, all things considered, you give up 2 hits, throw a wild pitch, and walk a guy in an inning. Only gave up 1 run in the 4th. It could have been a lot worse. Rays had the bullpen up during that last inning. It sat back down, and Boz's 65th pitch of the day is hit in the air right field, going back low to the warning track at the wall, and he makes the catch. Oh boy, was that close for Tyler Heineman. He put a big charge into that ball and missed a homer by maybe 3 feet.
Well, that was a towering shot from Heineman. It looked like he got it off the bat, maybe got underneath it just a little bit. But Lowe had his back against that wall, making that catch. Almost a home run for Tyler Heineman.
And while it's Heinemann's 5th major league season, he only has 1 career home run. Pitch to Nathan Lucas now, called strike, 0-1. And that came back in 2019 in his first season, so that would have been a big one for the Blue Jay catcher. 2 pitches, though, and 2 outs for Boz to start the inning. His 0-1 now to Lucas, inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Lucas 0 for 2 today. A strikeout and a flyout. 1-1. Up and in. John Schneider had said at the outset of the series that one of the things he likes most about Lucas is that bats are always the same. It could be as a starter, a sub. It could be the 9th inning or the 1st inning. The game doesn't speed up on the 30-year-old rookie. 2-1. Pitch is high, 3-1.
Well, I think it matters that he's so seasoned. He's a 30-year-old guy. He's not a typical 22, 23-year-old guy getting called up to the big leagues.
3-1 pitch is tagged to right field. A line drive, base hit.
And again, he gets that pitch right down the middle. Doesn't try to do too much with it. Doesn't try to get too big. You see a lot of young guys getting called up. A lot of young guys that aren't sure of the approach yet. But Nathan Lucas has figured it out. He's been in the minor leagues a long time.
He keeps this inning going for Ernie Clement. Runner on first, 2 outs, 1-0 Blue Jays in the top of the 5th. Pause set, offers home. Swing and a fly ball right field, ranging back low, back on the warning track again. He'll make the catch and end the inning. No runs on a hit for the Blue Jays. 1 left, 1-0 Toronto, middle of the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Congratulations to Shohei Ohtani on becoming the first player in Major League Baseball history to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season.
He swings, hits a drive to left. This ball's back. There it is. Number 50. He is incredible.
Talk baseball. Experience history all day, every day on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89, and the all-new Sirius XM app.
If you want to win your fantasy football league, you need to listen to Fantasy Sports Radio. From lineup decisions to daily fantasy to waiver wire advice, injury updates, and so much more.
You cannot afford to drop a running back.
Our experts will help you dominate.
I think there's value there on Austin Eckler in PPR formats.
Set your lineup with Fantasy Sports Radio. Your home for fantasy football all season long. Channel 87 and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on Sirius XM. We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Hollywood Casino 400 from Kansas Speedway.
Checker flag, baby. Yeah!
On Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app. Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the Sirius XM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah!
Hey everyone, it's Justin Turbin at your 24/7 home for hoops all year long is Sirius XM NBA Radio Channel 86 and the Sirius XM app. Just search NBA Radio.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0 Blue Jays at Tropicana Field. Jose Caballero, Ben Rortvedt, Taylor Walls to hit this inning for the Rays against Ryan Yarbrough, the Blue Jay lefty. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Here's the pitch. Caballero swings and pops it up. Right side foul. Horwitz, the first baseman, giving it a look, but it's out of play 0-1. Bottom third of the Rays order tries to get something going for Tampa Bay. Only 2 hits today for the Rays and 1 runner in scoring position all day. The 2-out double by Caminero in the first. 0-1. Swing and another pop-up. This one in fair territory near short. Clement onto the turf in shallow left center makes the catch. 1 out.
This injury report is brought to you by Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count. Call Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Pereira will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca.
No updates from John Schneider today. Does not speak on Sundays, but if you weren't with us earlier, then an update. Pitch from Yarbrough to Ben Rortvedt, called strike 0-1. Dalton Varsho, we were told a couple days ago, will be getting rotator cuff surgery on Monday. So tomorrow now is when Varsho should have that surgery on his right shoulder. 0-1 is popped up back behind the plate. 0-2. Bo Bichette set to see a hand specialist in Arizona on Tuesday. Will Wagner already had the surgery, the scope on his left knee, and he is meeting back up with the Blue Jays tomorrow, or maybe even tonight when they're back in Toronto. 0-2. Curveball outside. Rortvedt bends his knees, doesn't swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Around baseball, a fairly notable activation for the Orioles as they bring Jordan Westberg back off the injured list and Ramon Urias. 1-2. Inside 2-2, and the Orioles in desperate need of a shot in the arm right now. They have not played great baseball at all over the last month.
You know who's not playing well? The Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, it's turned into not really a race for the wild card. 2-2, liner over the head of Yarbrough, and it's juggled and caught by Clement. Running up the middle, it hit the shortstop's top of the glove, then the palm, and then he snagged it with both hands, somehow making the play for the second out.
Well, that was an incredible play from Ernie Clement. He just continues to impress. Like you said, juggled that thing a few times, made the play, had a couple laughs, and I'm sure Ryan Yarbrough was breathing a sigh of relief after that play.
Pitch to Taylor Walls now, chopped to third. On one bounce, picked up by Addison Barger. A throw to first, and how about another 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Yarbrough. We go to the sixth with the Blue Jays up 1-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Panel Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the ninth. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend for the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Hey, Jays fans, ready to hit a home run with your next roofing project? Step up to the plate with GAF Timberline HTZ shingles, the official roofing shingle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Just like our Jays, GAF Timberline HTZ shingles deliver top performance with unmatched durability and protection. So, when it's time to cover your bases, choose the winning team. Visit your local Home Depot or shop online at homedepot.ca for all your roofing shingles and accessories. GAF. We protect what matters most.
Monday, September 23rd on City TV.
I like to know what my patients are experiencing, to feel how they're feeling.
New series Brilliant Minds follows revolutionary neurologist Dr. Oliver Wolf.
You can't treat a patient without understanding who they really are.
As he explores the human mind.
You see the stuff the rest of us miss. It's a gift.
I choose to walk with my patients, find a path forward when nobody else will.
The series premiere of Brilliant Minds, Monday, September 23rd on City TV.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball cracked to center field, to the wall, to the track. It's gone.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads off the sixth inning for the Blue Jays, who hold on to a 1-0 lead at Tropicana Field. Thanks for sticking around on this Sunday. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Shane Baz still on the hill. The Rays starter deals home, and Guerrero hits it foul, 0-1. With the last hit for Vlad, he is now tied for 9th most hits in a single season by a Blue Jay ever, with 1993 Roberto Alomar, 192 hits on the year. 0-1. Swing and another one spoiled foul, 0-2. There's opportunity for Guerrero to keep climbing that ladder this season. If you were with us locally on Fan 590 in the pregame show, Ali went over it a little bit. But Vlad could threaten 200 hits. 0-2 pitch is hit off the mound on the ground, fielded in shallow center by the second baseman Caballero. His throw to first late, and that should be another base hit for Guerrero on an infield single.
Yeah, that's definitely a base hit. A really tough play for Caballero. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hustling down the line and beating that throw out. Both arms in the air, celebrating that base hit. Another base hit for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
So now he has sole possession of 9th most hits in a Blue Jays season all time. And he's 2 behind Aaron Hill's 195 from 2009. Spencer Horwitz is up. Runner on first, no outs, in the pitch. Low ball 1.
So he has about, let's say, 21, 22 at-bats left.
Something like that. Maybe 25 if he doesn't get walked a lot. and he's looking for 7 more hits. That's very doable for a guy like Vlad.
Very doable.
1-0. Inside, 2-0. And in some ways, with just the style of the game, hitting for 200 today is more impressive than in the past. I mean, way fewer guys do it if you just want to do it that way. And the pitching is higher velocity and a little bit less control. 2-0 pitch popped up by Horwitz. Right over third base. The shortstop, Walls is calling for it, makes the catch. 1 out. When you factor in the guys are looking for walks more and prone to walk more, so that takes at bats away, it gets really hard to think about 200 hits.
Well, I think Vlad has a little bit of that old school approach and the new school approach. When somebody leaves a hanger over the middle of the plate, he is absolutely ready to hammer it. But he's also a guy that takes his base hits, his little broken bat flares, his jam shots. He's perfectly okay with that.
Got a 2-strike infield hit to start this inning. Now 1 out, and the pitch to Addison Barger is hit high in the air to left center field. Hanging up for Carlson, who waves off the center fielder DeLuca and makes the catch. 2 outs.
Shane Baz is very quietly having a pretty good game. 5 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, just 1 earned run. He's solid.
He's been very good, but the Blue Jays up 1-0 right now in the top of the 6th. By the way, on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, that game between the Red Sox and Twins about to wrap up, still 8-1 Red Sox. It's now in the 9th. And the Tigers are beating the Orioles, although it's much closer. Instead of 3-0, it's 4-3 for Detroit in Baltimore in the 6th. Pitch to Leo Jimenez, called strike, 0-1. All of our out-of-town scores brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. 1-0 Blue Jays, top of the 6th. 2 outs, Guerrero on first, and the right on right 0-1. Fastball yanked outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Vlad leading off first, held on by Aranda, right-handed first baseman. 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Aranda does an interesting thing with his setup. You're going to see most first basemen, right or left-handed, set up near the front corner of the back, the one closer to the plate, and obviously not the one on the foul line. He sets up at the back corner, further away, but an easier tag, a four-handed tag. 1-2 pitch runs inside, 2-2.
And I think Leo Jimenez is saying that he got hit on that arm pad. The Blue Jays are taking a quick look right now.
He's spun out of the way, and he's not showing signs of pain, but the Blue Jays are showing signs of challenging. John Schneider with the earmuff signal, and this would be ridiculous if it's another one that gets Jimenez, and it's tough to tell on the slow motion replay, but it got closer than I thought for sure.
Another one of those hit by pitch where
Toronto is challenging the call of no hit by pitch.
And I believe that it did hit that elbow guard, but that's just that's a silly one where that elbow guard kind of sticks below the elbow and it just caught that elbow guard. I mean, it will be a hit by pitch, but kind of a silly one.
And Jimenez, he doesn't dive out with it, but his elbow is left out there a little bit. As he was turning around, he didn't tuck it in. And he's getting ready to go down to first base. He's taken the elbow guard off. Jonathan Clase has gotten rid of the donut on his bat. So the Blue Jays seem to be very confident this is going to be overturned.
Well, Leo is, that's for sure. Well, Leo knows he got hit.
Right.
So he's assuming that it'll be overturned.
Larry Vanover's still waiting for the call right now, the crew chief. New York dealing with this hit-by-pitch challenge. It was called a ball on the field. If it's overturned, it's first and second for the Blue Jays.
Upon review, the call on the field stands. No hit by pitch. Toronto loses their challenge.
Interesting.
It looked like we saw an angle on the Rays broadcast that showed that pitch skimming him. I'll admit it was very minimal. And maybe they couldn't tell exactly for sure that it happened. And if they don't know 100%, they're not allowed to overturn it. So the call stands, and Jimenez steps back up with now a 2-2 count. He's been hit 16 times this season. It doesn't go to 17. Pause in the set. And now the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Dials it up to 98 to get Jimenez. And after the leadoff Guerrero single, nothing else from the Blue Jays in the top of the 6th. 1-0 Toronto going to the bottom half. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Relax into your day with a colorful collage of 90s and 2000s pop.
I want to wake up where you are.
Where memories become your mosaic.
So why don't you slide? I catch a grenade for you. Feel the rain on your skin.
Sirius XM Mosaic, Channel 15, and listen at home or at work with the Sirius XM app.
The rest is still unreturned.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your Sirius XM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on Sirius XM Channel 89. Or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. Sirius XM Sports. We're more than just a game.
If you love golf, then you should never turn off PGA Tour Radio. Hear from the biggest names in the sport.
Champion golfer of the year is Xander Schauffele.
I think best round of golf ever in my life.
Listen to special shows from people who love the game, like rock and roll legend Alice Cooper.
There's a putt, must be 90 feet long, and you make that putt.
And get help with your own game.
You'll get through your iron shots and have predictable distance.
It's all golf, all the time, on PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the Sirius XM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
And the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Home half of the 6th inning at Tropicana Field. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman with Chris LaRue. Ryan Yarbrough still on the mound, and the first pitch is bunted on and popped up foul by Dylan Carlson all the way to the backstop. It's 0-1. Zach Pop was warming up for the Blue Jays in the top of the 6th. We'll see how much longer Yarbrough goes. He's just over 50 pitches, and he's thrown 3 2/3 scoreless innings for the Blue Jays with 1 hit and 5 strikeouts. Lefty's 0-1. Swing and a hot shot up the middle. A base hit bouncing into center field. Picked up in left center by Loperfido for Carlson. His second time aboard today and his first hit of the game.
Just a little changeup that actually wasn't a terrible pitch, but Carlson does a good job going out and hammering that thing through the hole on the left side. But again, another good changeup, another good pitch from Ryan Yarbrough. Just tough luck that time.
Yarbrough now works with traffic, which he's done rarely in this outing. A leadoff base runner in Carlson. The pitch to Brandon Lau. Outside, ball 1.
But keep in mind, that's a big run out at first base. The Blue Jays are only up by 1 run in this ball game.
1-0 Toronto, no outs, bottom 6. And Lau, as we talked about earlier, can leave the yard at any time. In 2021 and 2020, a down ballot MVP candidate and all-star in 2019. Swing and a bouncer back to the mound. Yarbrough fields, throws to Clement at second, 1 back to first, not in time. It's a fielder's choice to get the lead runner. And there's 1 out in the bottom of the 6th.
That was a really quick turn from Ernie Clement out at second base. He got that baseball and immediately threw to first base. He knew that Lau can run. Blue Jays are probably thinking about, well, I guess they can't now.
I was going to say they've used the challenge. They used it in the top half of the inning when a pitch appeared to hit Leo Jimenez, but Toronto didn't get the call and they lost the challenge, so they don't have an opportunity to challenge that. And they'll go into their bullpen now as Yarbrough gets through 4 innings of work. Lefty hands the ball to John Schneider with a runner on first. 1 out in the bottom of the 6th, and the Blue Jays up 1-0. Zach Pop coming in. Let's go back to baseball control. Here's Show Ali.
Thank you very much, guys. Before we check the out-of-town scoreboard, quick reminder that we do have Jays Talk today. I have a solo edition of the post-game show, so I'll need your phone calls and your texts. You can send me a text, 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. It's always open. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. We'll throw out the numbers for you to call after the final out. Quick check of some scores across Week 3 of the NFL. Early games all in the third or fourth quarters. The Broncos lead the Buccaneers 20-7, end of the third quarter. The Texans just got on the board with a Cam Akers touchdown, though they do trail the Vikings 21-7. Sam Darnold with a trio of touchdown passes in that one. The Steelers just knocked in a field goal. They lead the Chargers 13-10. The Saints lead the Eagles 3-0 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. The Packers lead the Titans 27-14. The Giants lead the Browns 21-7. 2 touchdown grabs for rookie Malik Neighbors, and the Colts lead the Bears 7-3. In the NHL, 10 games in preseason action tonight. It gets underway across the league. The Leafs will take on the Senators at Scotiabank Arena later this evening, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. That game will be on both Sportsnet on television and our flagship station, Sportsnet 590 The Fan in Toronto this evening. We also have Jets at Oilers, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, and Flames at Kraken will go 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific as well. Finals from yesterday, the Stars beat the Blues 2-1. The Sabres thumping the Penguins in Buffalo 7-3, and the Wild beating the Jets 5-2. So a back-to-back for Winnipeg to start the preseason. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue with the call.
Thank you very much, Joe. Zach Pop, a native of Brampton, enters for the Blue Jays with Toronto up 1-0. 1 out and a runner on first, bottom of the 6th inning. Pop, who's been on a decent run as of late, thrust into some pretty decent leverage here, Chris.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for Zach Pop to be in. As I've talked about a couple of times this season, things speed up when guys are on base when he comes into ball games.
His pitch to Junior Caminero is high, ball 1.
And he tries to be too quick. He doesn't want that runner obviously stealing second base, but you have to remember, you still have to make a good pitch. It's not all about that runner. You have to really concentrate on making a good pitch to Caminero.
Pops 1-0. Swing and a grounder to third. Charging Barger is going to throw over to first, his only play. Speedy Lau got up to second base quickly, so there's now 2 outs and a runner on second.
And that's that good fastball that is really, really effective in situations like this, getting a ground ball, inducing that ground ball. It was 94 right down the middle, but it had late sink to it, and Caminero just hammered that thing into the ground.
Tyler Heineman's going to go out to the mound before Jonathan Aranda comes up. And if you're on the Blue Jays side, you can see flashbacks right here. Aranda up in a huge spot to change this game. He had the eventual game-winning homers in each of the first 2 contests of this series. In a second, he'll come up with a runner on second, Lau. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th, and the Blue Jays up 1-0.
Well, I'm sure that's what Tyler Heineman went out and said to Zach Pop. Hey, we have an open base, and this guy absolutely rakes.
You got a right-handed hitter on deck, too. But it hasn't been Aranda's day so far. 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts, 1 against Burr and 1 against Yarbrough. The pitch. Fastball at the knees. 97 easy from Pop. 0-1. Looks like the Rays pen will get involved after this inning. Colin Poche is loosening up. 0-1. Swing and a high fly ball. Deep right field. Going back Lucas. And Aranda's done it again. A go-ahead 2-run shot. His 3rd homer in as many days. And the Rays jump in front 2-1.
Pretty incredible what he's done against the Blue Jays over the last 3 days, but that was just a cutter down and in. Left-handed hitters love that pitch. Down and in, they can just drop the barrel and hammer something. If I'm Zach Pop in that situation, I stay away from that location. I stay away from that pitch. I go with the good stuff. That hard sinking fastball at 97, 98 miles an hour, and unfortunately, the pitch choice just wasn't the right pitch choice in that situation.
Flashbacks for the Blue Jays as the Rays lead again, and Johnny DeLuca takes strike 1. Pop's pitch. Swing and a miss, 0-2. I mean, as good as he's been the last 2 days, you're not going to intentionally walk Jonathan Aranda just because first base is open. But like you said, really gave him a pitch to hit. 0-2. Outside with the slider.
Well, the biggest thing to think about, you don't want to put the go-ahead run on base, but you still have to be careful with Aranda. Yes, he's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts in this game, but he's a guy that is a power threat. And as we saw, I mean, he can run into one.
1-2 offering is another slider bounced. 3 straight sliders from Pop. It's 2-2. It's 5 homers in the last 14 games now for Aranda, 3 in this series. 2-2. Sinker down and in, ball 3. He is showing why Kevin Cash has slotted him in at cleanup all 3 of these days. 3-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Pop gets the strikeout, but the Rays take the lead. On the 2-run homer by Jonathan Aranda, it's now 2-1 Tampa Bay going to the 7th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Fanal Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the 9th. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend for the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Francis kicks and delivers. Called strike 3, 95.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Colin Poche enters the game for the Rays as we enter the final third of this game. It's the 7th inning, and Tampa Bay up 2-1. Just grabbed their first lead of the day thanks to a 2-run homer from Jonathan Aranda. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Colin Poche pitching in his 41st game of the year. A 3.63 ERA for the lefty. His pitch to Jonathan Clase shows bunt and bunts through it. It's a strike, 0-1. Clase batting from the right side for the first time today. Switch hitter hit left the first 2 times and flied out both times. 0-1. Down and in, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And at the start of this at bat, Junior Caminero at third base was playing way back, and that bunt kind of brought him in just a little bit. He took a couple of steps back after that strike, but
1-1. Swing and a miss on a 4-seamer in on the hands, 1-2. And the speed is a big element to the game of Jonathan Clase. That can involve bunting. It can involve stealing. It obviously factors into his defense. A guy with the physical tools to do a lot at the major league level if he can sync it all up. 1-2 pitch is hit in the air down the left field line, hooking toward the corner. That's going to bounce on the warning track into the wall. Clase around first into second, his first double as a Blue Jay, and it's well timed as Toronto puts the tying run in scoring position to start the 7th.
Well, that was a really good job shortening up that swing. It was a tough fastball up and in, up at the hands, and Clase just shortens that swing up, a good 2-strike approach, and hammers it into the corner in left field. A big leadoff double for the Jays.
There you can see the power from Clase, who might not be very big, but like you said, he's shortening up. That pitch is in, and he still almost hit it out of the park.
Yeah, that was about, 3-4 feet from getting out of here?
Especially if he had hooked it just a little bit more. The wall gets really short. You might remember that famous Evan Longoria home run over the short wall to send the Rays to the playoffs years ago. He almost put it right in that spot. Blue Jays will now go to a pinch hitter with a chance to tie this game or even take the lead. Down 2-1 top of the 7th. Davis Schneider comes into the spot of Joey Loperfido. Poche's pitch. Low ball 1. It is worth noting that this season, Poche has actually been better against right-handed batters than left-handed batters. But the Blue Jays opt for the righty to come in. Now the 1-0 pitch popped up behind the plate, foul, moving over toward the first base side. That one's going to get out of play. It bounces off the top of the first base dugout and goes into the seats. So this year, right-handed hitters have done worse against Poche. And it's a big split this year. It's usually a little bit more even in his career. But I guess for the Blue Jays, it's a little bit more about Loperfido has struggled against left-handed pitching. So you bring in Davis Schneider, a right-handed hitter, in his spot. 1-1. Inside.
And you're also looking for the potential 2-run home run in this situation as well.
Schneider with 13 homers this season, 46 driven in. 2-1. Breaking ball misses low. Good takes there from Schneider. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, he's looked pretty comfortable during this at-bat so far. Obviously seeing the ball well out of Poche's hands, but that was a tough breaking ball. Looked like a strike and then dove out, and Davis Schneider took it pretty easily.
(3-1). Hit foul off to the left. That brings the runner Clase back to second base. He's been chatting a little bit with second baseman Jose Caballero. Both of them before this season were with the Mariners organization. Caballero traded in the offseason. Clase traded at the deadline to the Blue Jays. 3-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Nice tight slider at the knees, gets the whiff from Schneider, and there's 1 out.
That was about worst case scenario. In that situation, if you're not getting a base hit, you at least want to move that runner up to third base. Of course, Clase is scoring on anything to the outfield, but you have to get that runner over to third base.
You wonder now if Clase thinks about taking off for third. Tyler Heineman's up for the Blue Jays. The pitch. Bunt shown, and it's put down in fair territory to third. Barehanded by Caminero. He's got no play. Clase safe at third. Heineman with his first hit of this major league season. It's a bunt single, and the Blue Jays have runners on the corners, 1 out.
Well, that was an absolutely perfect bunt. Junior Caminero with a pretty good play, barehanding that baseball. But he barehanded that baseball, looked up to first base, and realized that Tyler Heineman was going to beat it out. What a bunt. What a play.
And Heineman's not exactly a burner. Caminero made that play perfectly and still had no chance because of how good that bunt was. Corners are now playing a little bit in for the Rays. Middle back, first and third, 1 out. The pitch to Nathan Lucas. He shows bunt and pops it up foul, 0-1.
I also have a feeling that Caminero didn't throw that baseball because he's concerned about Clase motoring around third base and coming in to score, even if they get that out at first base. So pretty smart play from him.
Yeah, it's a fair point. He instead faked a throw and turned immediately to third to look at Clase. Caminero playing way in now after that bunt foul by Lucas. 0-1. Bunt again shown, but he pulls it back, and the pitch is high. 1-1. And they're looking to safety squeeze in Clase, it seems, although Lucas isn't putting the bat out there that early.
Well, it would be a pretty easy safety squeeze. If Nathan Lucas is able to get that bunt down on the ground, I'm pretty sure that Clase will score on it.
1-1. Again, the bunt shown, and this one bunted right back to the mound. Underhand flip to the plate, and they get Clase. That was the one spot you really couldn't bunt it to, right back to the pitcher. And a good play by Poche. He picked it up, got it right back to Rortvedt, who had Clase easily.
Yeah, that was, I mean, right back to the pitcher is, like you said, the one spot that you do not want to bunt that baseball, and Poche makes a pretty easy play on it. It was bunted pretty hard right back at him. He just underhands it, and Clase is out by a good bit at home plate there.
That'll be the end of the day for Colin Poche. He leaves with the Blue Jays still threatening, but it's now first and second for Toronto. 2 outs, down 2-1, top of the 7th. Let's go back to baseball control. Here's Show Ali.
Thanks very much, guys. And before we check the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill, another reminder that we do have Jays Talk today. A quick solo edition of the post-game show following this one. Phone calls and text. You can send me a text, 590-590, name and location. That's the People's text line, always open. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. We'll throw out the numbers to call after the final out. All right, let's check in on week 3 in the NFL. The early game starting to wrap up. The Vikings leading the Texans 21-7. Sam Darnold did go to the sidelines after getting tangled up with a Texans defender, so he is questionable. Broncos leading the Buccaneers 23-7 with 7.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Steelers lead the Chargers 20-10. Calvin Austin III with a 55-yard touchdown pass to give the Steelers a larger lead. The Eagles now lead the Saints 7-6. Eagles getting a 65-yard touchdown run from Saquon Barkley a couple minutes ago. The Packers lead the Titans 27-14. The Giants lead the Browns 21-7. And the Colts just scoring a reverse tush push of sorts. Trey Sermon getting pushed by Anthony Richardson into the end zone. Colts lead the Bears 14-3. In the world of Formula One, the Singapore Grand Prix was earlier today. McLaren's Lando Norris winning this morning. Red Bull's Max Verstappen coming second and mounting the podium as well. Norris's teammate Oscar Piastri grabbing third place. Blue Jays baseball brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you, Show. Kevin Kelly is into the game after the failed safety squeeze by the Blue Jays. Rays still lead 2-1, and Kelly tries to end this inning. There's 2 outs, runners on first and second, and Ernie Clement is up to hit for Toronto. Kelly, the righty, rocks and deals. And Clement hits it foul off of his front foot, 0-1.
Big spot for Ernie Clement here. That tying run is out at second base, but going back to that safety squeeze from Nathan Lucas with Jonathan Clase at third base, I don't love that play just because Nathan Lucas is swinging the bat really well. He's a contact guy, doesn't strike out much. Tough play.
0-1. Swing and a liner hooking down the left field line. That's a fair ball bouncing down on the turf. Around third and into score Heineman. Up to second Lucas. Ernie Clement with an RBI single to tie the game at 2.
And like I've said so many times this season, outside of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., in a big spot, Ernie Clement is the guy that I want up. Doesn't try to do too much with that tough slider from Kelly. Just pokes it into left field. He knows exactly what he's doing up there.
Clement hitting almost .330 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. He comes up with his 49th RBI, and here is Guerrero, who takes strike 1. So that run's going to be charged to Colin Poche. And Poche still responsible for the runner on second in Lucas. 2-2 game, 2 outs, top of the 7th, and the 0-1. Called strike, 0-2. Two-hit day for Vlad, 2 for 3. His batting average at .326 now on the year. Still a little bit of hope for that batting title. 0-2. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bobby Witt right now sits at .334. He's 1 for 3 today. One-two pitch. Outside again by a mile. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
2 sweepers nowhere near the strike zone.
For Kelly, he's pretty much sinker sweeper. Comes from an underneath angle, but he just gave up the game-tying single. His 2-2. Called strike 3. Drops the sinker in at the knees and freezes Guerrero to end the inning. Blue Jays tie it, though. A run on 3 hits. They leave a pair on, but it's 2-2 at the 7th inning stretch. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
Which Looney Dogger are you? The fork and knifer, splatterer, condiment queen, or Big Dipper? This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. You will have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the stadium. Then show the world your Looney Dog style. Because whether you're the mustard maven or ketchup king, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. So don't miss out on this deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's, every Tuesday home game.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's building center. Visit timbermart.ca.
This October on Sportsnet.
Did you see that?
Be here for a brand new season. For rivalries.
Wow.
Be here for superstars. Because once the action starts, here we go. The excitement is here to stay. October 8th, the puck drops here. Are you ready?
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. How about 99 right down the middle? Beats Manzardo.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Ali with you at Baseball Control. The Jays and Rays are tied at 2 as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning at the Trop. Don't forget, we do have Jays Talk tonight. I have a solo edition of the post-game show. We'll take your phone calls and your texts. You can send me a text, 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line, always open. As usual, standard data and messaging rates may apply. We'll throw out the numbers to call after the final out. Quick check of that St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Some awards being handed out in the WNBA as the playoffs get underway. The Aces' Aja Wilson winning her 3rd MVP trophy, something only 3 others have ever done. She was also a unanimous MVP, something only 1 person has ever done other than her. Cynthia Cooper in 1997. Caitlin Clark, meanwhile, was the unanimous Rookie of the Year and was also named to the WNBA All-Rookie team. We also had a pair of Premier League games today across the pond. A pair of draws, 2-2 for Brighton and Nottingham Forest, and 2-2 as well for Man City and for Arsenal. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Again, the Jays and Rays tied at 2, bottom 7 at the Trop. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. Genesis Cabrera enters the ball game for the Blue Jays. A now tied game thanks to Ernie Clement's RBI single in the top half of the inning. For Cabrera, it'll be his 67th appearance of the year across 60 innings, an earned run average of exactly 20 earned runs in 60 innings, 48 strikeouts to 29 walks, and Cabrera now pitching on a 2nd straight day after throwing a scoreless 2/3 of an inning yesterday. Lefty is set and deals to a pinch hitter, Yandy Diaz. First pitch curve inside ball 1. Diaz batting in the spot of Josh Lowe. (1-0). Bounce 2-0.
And in the top half of the inning, both Brendan Little and Genesis Cabrera were warming up in that bullpen. I'm assuming that if the Blue Jays were still down, it would have been Brendan Little. And now that the game is tied, it's obviously their highest leverage lefty in Genesis Cabrera.
2-0. Fastball for a strike, 98 from the southpaw, 2-1.
That thing's got some juice on it. He's ready for winter ball.
And he was throwing like that yesterday, coming back today and still ripping it in there late into September. 2-1. 98 again for a called strike, 2-2, and Diaz is going to take a walk for a moment in the dirt circle.
And it's not just 98, it's 98 with a lot of life on it through that strike zone. You can see how uncomfortable Yandy Diaz was after that fastball, although it wasn't a strike.
It was a little inside. 2-2. 98 up near the chin, and Diaz spins out of the way. That was scary, but thankfully it didn't clip him. It's 3-2. Cabrera really throwing with high velocity right now. Lost control of that fastball. That could have been dangerous. But Diaz is all right, thankfully, and they'll do it again with a full count. Lefty set. And his pitch. Fastball hit foul. There's definitely some history here, whether you want to talk about Cabrera's suspension early in the season when he got into a bit of a tiff at third base after an out was made, or the fact that Cabrera was in the Rays system before debuting with the Cardinals. Another 3-2 is hit hard on the ground down the left field line. Fair ball bouncing into the corner. Around first goes Diaz and over to second. Davis Schneider, the new left fielder, picks it up. It's a leadoff double for Diaz off the bench.
Well, not a terrible pitch from Genesis Cabrera. A little cutter down and in. But Yandy Diaz does such a good job of recognizing that pitch and hammering it down the line for a leadoff double. Big runner out there at second base in a tie ball game.
And they're going to pinch run now for Diaz, who didn't really fit positionally for the guy he replaced anyway, the right fielder Josh Lowe. So they bring Jose Siri off the bench, who's both faster and can slot in the outfield next inning.
Yeah, that's a quick runner out there at second base now instead of Yandy Diaz.
You wouldn't expect him to go right now with nobody out, but he can definitely take a bag when needed.
Well, the biggest thing I think is he can score on a base hit. Yandy Diaz might not have scored on a base hit.
Jose Caballero is up. And the pitch. No, it's going to be the inside move and a look at second from Cabrera. Mentioned Schneider's the new left fielder. He came in last inning as a pinch hitter for Joey Loperfido. Fills in for him in left. Pitch now to Caballero. Check swing on a cutter low. Appeal to first. He did not go. 1-0.
And another guy up at the plate right now that has a ton of speed. 44 stolen bases this season for Caballero.
He's pacing the American League. Although we've only seen him take off once in this series, a series that's been mostly without offense. And he got thrown out by Alejandro Kirk. Or rather, he was thrown out by a pickoff move over to first. 1-0. 97 just below the knees, ball 2.
Genesis Cabrera staring in at home plate umpire Nate Tomlinson, wondering where that pitch was.
And someone just got thrown out. I don't think it was him. It was someone from the Blue Jay dugout. It might have been John Schneider, who's out right now talking to the home plate ump Nate Tomlinson.
Well, I can only imagine that John Schneider is just defending his pitcher. He saw the body language of Genesis Cabrera out there, and he's letting home plate umpire Nate Tomlinson know that, hey, that's a bad call. You've been bad all day. I'm assuming that's what he's saying to him.
Well, he tapped his head like the minor league challenge signal, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but almost like if there were challenges today, you might be in trouble because there would have been a lot of different calls. Larry Vanover is making his way over, the crew chief right now. Schneider's still talking to Nate Tomlinson, clearly upset. And I believe it was Schneider who was thrown out of the game, but I don't know that confirmed yet.
Well, it definitely looks like John Schneider was thrown out of this ball game. That's for sure.
He just went down the tunnel. So John Schneider thrown out. DeMarlo Hale, the associate manager, in conjunction with bench coach Don Mattingly, will take over. And it's 2-0 count now. 2-2 ball game. Runner on second. No outs, bottom of the 7th. Cabrera's pitch. Cutter poured over, strike 1.
And I know that we have the benefit of seeing the replay on a TV or that strike box, but that wasn't a strike.
Yeah, it was very, very close. But on the strike box, it said that it went just a little bit low. 2-1. Low ball 3. Like you said, though, there's a chance that that's Schneider seeing Cabrera staring in, and rather than Cabrera getting in trouble, Schneider jumps in front of him in a way and gets himself thrown out to keep Cabrera in the game. A look at second, and the lefty's 3-1. Swing and a liner, left field, base hit. Siri had to wait, so he'll stop at third, but it's runners on the corners. Nobody out here after the Caballero single.
And that ball was hammered by Caballero. Even if Jose Siri took off as that baseball was hit, I don't think he would have scored just because that ball was hit so hard to Davis Schneider in left field. It would have been an easy play for him to throw out Siri, but that is just a hanging cutter from Genesis Cabrera.
That puts the Blue Jays in a tough spot here. They're trying to keep the go-ahead run from scoring, but there's nobody out. First and third right now for the Rays. And Ben Rortvedt is set to hit next, but it's going to be another pinch hitter for Kevin Cash. He's emptying the bench here in this inning. Christopher Morel is the third substitute the Rays will use in the bottom of the seventh.
And again, keep in mind that Jose Caballero, who's standing on first base, has 44 steals this season.
With the infield in, I almost could guarantee that he's going to take off, and you might see Siri leave from third if the Blue Jays throw down. Tyler Heineman preparing for that scenario, gives some signals to the infield, and now we're ready to go. Infield in, but a hold on first by Horwitz. Big lead Caballero, in the pitch is hammered to left field. Going back Schneider, he makes the catch on the liner, but Siri tags from third and scores easily. In a way that could have been worse, but it will go as a sacrifice fly for Morel, who could not have tagged that more than he did out to left. Nice catch by Schneider, 3-2 Rays.
Yeah, that ball was hit right on the screws by Christopher Morel. Davis Schneider got turned around just a little bit, but that's a really tough ball to catch. That line drive, that low line drive that's directly at you. You don't know which way to turn. Davis Schneider with a good play out there.
We talked yesterday about some of the bad luck Morel has had this year. 9 times out of 10 you hit that ball. That's extra bases. Throw over to first now by Cabrera, and a dive back from Caballero.
What's that analytic called? The expected batting average? Yeah, that one right there is tough.
Taylor Walls up, the switch hitting shortstop. 3-2 Rays, bottom 7. 1 out, a runner on first. Cabrera in the set and the pitch. Hit back foul, 0-1. Blue Jays led from the 4th inning until the 6th, but it's gone back and forth since. Next pitch is waved at and missed, 0-2. Rays just took the lead again on the deep sac fly by Christopher Morel. 0-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. Snap throw to first, and they caught him. Caballero slid back but fell off of the bag, and Horwitz tagged his hand. And the signal clear from Derek Thomas, off the bag, and he's out. We'll see if the Rays want to look. I think they're arguing maybe that Horwitz pushed him off the bag with the tag. And now Kevin Cash is out to talk, but there is going to be no challenge on that call. The runner out on the snap throw, but the Rays take the lead off the Morel sac fly. It's 3-2 Tampa Bay going to the 8th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on Sirius XM.
Let's go, man!
We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Hollywood Casino 400 from Kansas Speedway.
Checker fly, baby. Yeah!
On Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Oh, yeah!
Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are, with the Sirius XM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah!
You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, original specials, and much, much, much more. All baseball, every day, on your radio. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays
Upon
Baseball.
review, the call in the field is confirmed. The runner is out. Tampa Bay loses their challenge.
And that is what you missed while we were gone for a second. The Rays late decided to challenge that snap throw over to first to end the 7th inning. Tyler Heineman threw behind the runner, Jose Caballero. The call on the field was out. And not only did it stay in effect, they confirmed the call, ensuring that he was out. And we got to look. Granted, Caballero's off the base by maybe half an inch, but he was off the base and Horwitz tagged him.
Yeah, I'm pretty unsure what the Rays were looking at in their replay room there down behind their dugout, but we saw the play in slow motion and we immediately looked at each other and said, he's out. He's very clearly out. The call on the field is out. The replay looks like he's out. I mean, you have a challenge. Why not use it? I'm only assuming that's why they did it, but he was very clearly out on the replay.
And it seems like the Rays might have thought that Horwitz pushed the runner off the bag, but while the tag did move the hand of Caballero, he wasn't on the bag, so there was nothing to push him off in the first place. And that's another strong throw from a Blue Jay catcher over the last couple days.
Well, Tyler Heineman obviously is known for being a good thrower, being a good receiver, but Alejandro Kirk, we talked about him yesterday. He's come out of nowhere, and that arm has gotten a ton better, throwing out guys left, right, and center. I mean, that goes along with the blocking, the receiving, but I mean, Alejandro Kirk and Tyler Heineman both have been very impressive at throwing out runners.
With all of that, though, the Rays did get the last laugh in terms of what went on in the bottom of the 7th. Christopher Morel's go-ahead sac fly has given Tampa Bay a 3-2 advantage over Toronto as we're about to start the 8th inning. And it's going to be a new pitcher into the game for the Rays. Richard Lovelady, a couple-year Kansas City Royal, also a former A and Cub, pitching now for the 32nd time this season and 26th as a Ray. A lefty on because Horwitz, Barger are the first two batters of the top of the 8th inning. Lovelady with a 4.5 ERA in 32 games. A little bit better with the Rays. 3.76 ERA in 25 games. And he's a little bit tougher on lefties than righties this year, but nothing drastic. His left on left pitch to Horwitz. Bounced in, ball 1. Lovelady deals from a sidearm delivery and almost hops toward the plate as he releases the pitch. He's in the set now, and the 1-0 inside.
Lovelady only has 3 holds this season, so not really a situation that he is used to coming into a ball game late like this. Top of the 8th inning, Tampa Bay Rays leading 3-2.
2-0. Upstairs, 3 balls, no strikes. Some defensive changes for the Rays, by the way. We'll get to those in a sec. 3-2 Tampa Bay, and the 3-0 to Horwitz is a called strike. New catcher for the Rays is Ben Rortvedt was lifted for a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 7th. Logan Driscoll now subs in for Christopher Morel behind the plate. 3-1. Swing and a foul back, 3-2. Also, Josh Lowe was taken out of the game for a pinch hitter and then a pinch runner in that bottom of the 7th. So Johnny DeLuca slides from center to right to fill in for Lowe, and Jose Siri, who was the pinch runner, will now play in center. Full count to start the 8th, and time asked for by Horwitz, granted by Tomlinson. If you're scoring at home, that leaves the Rays with one more player on the bench, Austin Shenton, who we haven't seen yet in the series. 3-2 pitch, called strike 3. That's a perfect fastball on the outside corner, and there's one out.
Yeah, tough pitch for Spencer Horwitz. Right on the corner, 94 miles an hour. Just that tough angle from Lovelady, but like we've talked about so many times in this ball game over the course of the season, you have to at least try to foul that baseball off.
Pinch hitter now for the Blue Jays. They go with the platoon advantage, getting the right-handed hitter Luis De Los Santos in place of Addison Barger, and that's going to prompt a mound visit from pitching coach Kyle Snyder. A reminder, this copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. De Los Santos batting in this game for the first time as a pinch hitter now for Barger. He's 4 for 24 on the season with a double, an RBI, and 2 walks in 11 games. Blue Jays do still have a little bit on their bench as opposed to the Rays. Alejandro Kirk, George Springer, and Stuart Baroa are all available for Toronto. 3-2 Rays, 1 out, top of the 8th. The lefty Lovelady dangling his arm beside his left hip. Now comes set. The pitch. Slider for strike 1. Slider's the lead pitch for the lefty. Throws a lot of sinkers and a handful of four-seamers too. Is 0-1. Foul tip on another slider, 0-2. Lovelady DFA'd by the Cubs after posting a near 8 ERA in 7 games this season and picked up by the Rays in a trade in May. 0-2. Fouled back. A grunt on the 93-mile-per-hour fastball. De Los Santos stays on it.
A little bit of Chris Bassett in Lovelady.
With the grunting?
Yeah.
There you go. Oh-2 pitch, down and in. Tough take there by De Los Santos on a slider that got close to the zone but didn't grab it. A ball and 2 strikes. Leo Jimenez due up next for the Blue Jays. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Went back to the back foot slider, and this time De Los Santos chases. 2 strikeouts for Lovelady, who fist pumps after the second one. 2 down.
That was a really good slider from Lovelady. A little bit slower, a little bit more downward action to it, and De Los Santos just swings right over the top of it.
2 down, top of the Blue Jays 2. Leo Jimenez batting. 0 for 2 with a sac fly. He swings at the first pitch and fouls it behind him. 0-1. Jimenez with 4 home runs on the season. Had a pocket of a couple weeks in August, early September, where he was coming up with tons of extra base hits, and he fouls off the 0-1 to make it 0-2. Jimenez pinwheels the bat twice, waggles it above his right shoulder. 0-2 pitch outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. '23-year-old Jimenez, the second youngest player on the Blue Jay roster. 1-2. Swing and a pop-up just behind first. The right fielder, DeLuca, into foul territory, and he overruns it, and it gets down. Gave it a little more than he needed to. Reached back to try to grab it, but couldn't. Lost his hat in the process. And Jimenez gets a gift. He stays alive.
Yeah, we saw Vladimir Guerrero Jr. kind of do that yesterday, running from a pretty far distance away and overrunning that baseball. Johnny DeLuca does the exact same thing there. I don't know if it's the roof. He's kind of looking up at the roof and making a face, but as we've talked about so many times this weekend, the roof is an issue.
The color's a problem. The catwalks get involved, although they haven't in this series. 1-2. Swing and another one fouled off. This one out of play. And I guess that underscores, even for guys who play here 60 to 80 times a year, depending on how regular you are, it's still tough to make some catches at Tropicana Field. Lovelady's pitch. Swing and a liner down in center field. Base hit Leo Jimenez, and the Blue Jays have the tying run on with 2 outs in the top of the 8th.
And how big was that play from Johnny DeLuca overrunning that baseball? Leo Jimenez got a fastball up, and he just got it. He just hammered it into center field. A good second chance base hit for Leo.
They are allowed to give DeLuca an error on a play like that. They didn't. It was a long run, and he never touched it, but big nonetheless, like you mentioned. And here's the youngest Blue Jay on the roster now, Jonathan Clase. The pitch. Inside, ball 1.
I feel like guys only get errors on that play if they're camped and they touch the baseball.
It's a lot of like catchers on pop-ups, I feel like, or first or third baseman. (1-0). Swing and a ground ball, foul back near the third base dugout, 1-1.
That'd be a pretty tough error, sprinting over from about 150 feet away.
Yeah, that hurts. Although if you're Lovelady, you might be like, hey,
yeah,
could have been caught. Might have been an error. Lovelady about to offer his 20th of the inning. He deals to Jonathan Clase. Bounced it, picked on the backhand by Driscoll, 2-1. Clase 1 for 3 today with a double. Doubled his last time up into the left field corner. If he were to do that again, more than likely ties this game. 2-1. Swing and a sharp ground ball through the whole right side into center field. They were playing with the second baseman Caballero up the middle, and Clase found the space to the second baseman's left, got it into right center. Up to second goes Jimenez, and now the go-ahead run is on base for Toronto.
And that's just a good piece of hitting, completely different than his last at-bat when he ripped that double down the line, but pretty good approach right there. Here comes Kevin Cash.
Richard Lovelady with a strong start to the inning. 2 strikeouts, but after that, 2 singles allowed. The tying run in scoring position, 3-2 Rays, top of the 8th. And with 2 down, Hunter Biggie about to enter. Let's go back to baseball control. Here's today's host, Show Ali.
Thanks very much, guys. Before we check the out-of-town scoreboard one more time, let's give you a reminder that we do have Jays Talk after the final out of this one. I have a solo edition. Phone calls and your text, 590-590. Name and location, that is the People's Text line. It is always open. Standard data and messaging rates do apply. I'll throw out the phone numbers for you to call once this game is in the books. You guys know the drill. All right, let's check the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. A couple of finals around Major League Baseball. The Pirates beating the Reds 2-0 earlier, and the Boston Red Sox beating the Twins 8-1 in the first game of their doubleheader. Other scores going on right now. The Detroit Tigers hanging on to a very slim lead, top of the 9th inning in Baltimore at Camden Yards. The Tigers are up 4-3. The Giants, bottom of the 8th inning, are in Kansas City. They lead the Royals 2-0. The Braves lead the Marlins 5-4. The Guardians and Cardinals are tied at 1. The Astros lead the Angels 4-2. And right now, top of the 6th inning in Texas, the Mariners lead the Rangers 2-0. Quick check of the scoreboard. In Week 3 of NFL action, 3 finals already. The Broncos beat the Buccaneers 26-7. The Steelers beat the Chargers 20-10, and the Packers thumped the Titans 30-14. A couple of late lead changes, including the Eagles now leading the Saints. Saquon Barkley getting a touchdown and the 2-point conversion in the dying minutes of that one in New Orleans. This coming off of a Dallas Goedert 61-yard catch. So some fast finishes in the Week 3 of the NFL. Giants lead the Browns 21-15. Colts lead the Bears 21-7. Blue Jays baseball brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Back to the action. Here's Ben and Chris.
Thank you, Show. Hunter Biggie into the game for the Rays. 2 on, 2 out, and his pitch to Davis Schneider. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 3-2 Tampa Bay over Toronto, top of the 8th. After 2-out singles by Jimenez and Clase, the Blue Jays have the tying run in scoring position and the go-ahead run on base. Second at bat for Schneider, who came off the bench as a pinch hitter last inning. 0-1. 96-mile-per-hour fastball, strike 2.
We saw Biggie on Friday, and he was very impressive. His first career save, just 15 career innings coming into this ball game. You know that heart rate is up there again. I talked about it on Friday. Another big situation.
Righty's on the first base side of the rubber. Glove out from his chest. The 0-2. Fouled back. For Biggie, it's a high 90s fastball, a slider, a curve, and a sweeper. He sets and looks at second at Jimenez. 0-2 again. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Schneider goes around on 98 above the zone, and after the 2 hits, the Blue Jays leave the base runners on and go to the bottom of the 8th, trailing 3-2. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
Monday on City TV.
My heart is racing.
Life moves forward.
It's a scene I've seen so many times.
Love finds a way.
And this time, it's me.
It's Jones time.
I am greeting the next love of my life.
For another chance at love.
I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready for the journey to begin.
The Golden Bachelorette series premiere Monday, 8/7 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fielded at second, Horwitz steps on the bag, throws to first, double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Joe Ali, our host, and Jay's Talk host today. You can already text him at 590-590. Nick Blackmore, our producer. Tom Young, our technical director. 3-2, the Rays leading the Blue Jays, bottom of the 8th inning, and Eric Swanson on for Toronto to try to keep the Blue Jay deficit to 1. 42nd game of the season for Swanson, an ERA just below 5.5, and very solid numbers since returning to the Blue Jays midseason. Swanson gets the top of the order, starting with Dylan Carlson, the switch hitter batting left. And the righty's pitch. Fastball cut on and miss. Strike 1. A 1. Swing and a miss at a good splitter, and right there you see top of the zone heat, bottom of the zone splitter, and that looks like peak Eric Swanson.
Yeah, that's when he's at his best. That's basically what he looked like for the better part of 2 seasons.
0-2. Splitter chopped on the ground to third. De Los Santos just moved over there. He picks it up and throws to first. 1 out.
Another good split finger down in the zone. And the only thing Carlson could do is kind of stick the bat out and hit a weak ground ball. But Eric Swanson's been very good since the All-Star break. A 2.70 ERA, just 13 hits and 20 innings pitched.
The walks may be just a tick higher than you'd want them to be, but the results in terms of outs and runs allowed have definitely been there. Now his pitch to Brandon Lau. Called strike, 0-1.
Yeah, 10 walks in those 20 innings coming into this ball game. You definitely don't want it to be 50%, but the stuff is a lot better.
0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, in the first half, there were walks and he was getting hit a lot. Now, it's a lot less hits and a little bit less walks, too. 1-1. Elevated heater. Misses up top. 2 balls, 1 strike. One out, base is empty. The 2-1 to Brandon Lau. Swing and a miss. Splitter on the inside third and a big hack over top of it. 2-2.
And you can tell that he's really staying on top of that split finger. That's when he's at his best. I've said this a couple times, and you laughed the first time I said it, but early on in the season, he was throwing that thing like a pizza.
2-2 fastball hit foul. Still 2-2.
And when you get underneath that baseball, that's when you leave the baseball up and you give up home runs. But now he's getting on top of that split finger, and it has a ton of action on it.
I love the pizza metaphor. I've totally stolen it from you. Tyler Heineman asks for time and sprints out as Swanson was set. Maybe a bit of a miscommunication. These two did work with each other last year when Heineman had his stint with the Blue Jays. Talking right now, Heineman taps him on the chest and jogs back to the plate. Blue Jays have 9-1-2 scheduled to hit next inning. Heineman would lead off. Two-two pitch. Swing and a grounder foul. You do wonder if now acting manager DeMarlo Hale goes to some of his bench with still Kirk and Springer as possible pinch hit options and Baroa as a possible pinch run option.
You know John Schneider is still managing this ballgame, right?
Oh, yeah. But officially.
He's just in a different room.
Officially. No more are the Bobby Valentine mustache sunglasses days in effect. 2-2. Fastball hit in the air. Deep right field. Lucas going back. Looking up on the track. And Lau has hit it out. A solo home run to right field, his 20th of the season, and the Rays double their advantage from 3-2 to 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, that might have just been the pitch that Brandon Lau was looking for. It was 96 at the top of the strike zone. Not a terrible pitch from Eric Swanson. Might want to have elevated just a little bit more, but it seemed to me like Brandon Lau was looking for that fastball up, and he hammered it.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of pitch choice and location, not the result. I think you can live with that pitch from Eric Swanson, but Lau, a very talented hitter, got around on it. And the Rays now have extended their lead, a huge add-on run for Tampa Bay.
And his 20th homer of the year.
Yep. 3 out of the last 4 seasons now. 20 homers for Lau despite a ton of injuries. Pitch to Junior Caminero, top of the zone slider for a strike. For Lau, it's 20 homers in 102 games this season. A 1. Another slider fouled back, 0-2.
Caminero took a huge cut at that spinning slider right there. You could see him frustrated, smacking his bare hand against that bat. He wants that pitch back. That was just a little bit of a hanger.
He's been connecting on those recently. Has a double today, 1 for 3. Down in the count, 0-2. Swanson's pitch. Fastball fouled back. Overall, 14 extra base hits in the last 28 games for Junior Caminero, who has 9 doubles, a triple, and 4 homers. 0-2. Called strike 3. Perfect fastball on the outside corner, and there are 2 down.
And Junior Caminero has a couple words for home plate umpire Nate Tomlinson, but that was a very good pitch down in the zone and a very obvious strike.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call that a borderline pitch, to be honest. It's not one of those where a third of the ball is in the zone. That whole baseball fit into that corner. So Caminero retired, and now Jonathan Aranda up. The pitch. High fastball, 1-0. As much as Lau's home run just made an impact, Aranda has been the most impactful player for a third straight game. Hit a 2-run shot in the 6th that gave the Rays a 2-1 lead. 1-0 pitch called strike. Now the Rays up 4-2. 2 out, spaces empty. Bottom 8. One. Outside, 2-1.
I made the joke yesterday that he's the new Ryan Mountcastle, and I don't think it's a joke anymore. He just might be.
Hit his first ever Major League homer against the Blue Jays. That came in 2022 off Alek Manoah. 2-1 pitch is high, 3-1. Aranda has not had a ton of action in the majors, but he's hit 6 home runs against the Toronto Blue Jays in his career. He's hit 4 other home runs in his entire career. He takes the 3-1 for a strike, 3-2. So 60% of all of his Major League home runs have been hit against the Toronto Blue Jays.
A little bit silly.
Yeah, I mean, he has played them more than every team but Boston, but even still, he hasn't homered against a single other division rival yet. 3-2. Splitter for called, strike 3. Swanson bounces back from the homer for a pair of strikeouts, but the Rays add to their lead. Solo shot by Brandon Lau makes it 4-2 Tampa Bay as we go to the 9th. Blue Jays need 2 to keep the game going. We'll be back in a sec. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi there, it's Will Arnett here, host of Smartless, a podcast I do with my pals Sean Hayes and Jason Bateman. On Smartless, we connect people from all walks of life with special guests from Larry David, Selena Gomez, Arnold Schwarzenegger to Presidents Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton. But it's an off-the-cuff podcast examining the nooks and crannies of an English muffin to breaking down world affairs. And now you can hear every new episode a full week early on the SiriusXM app. Just search Smartless to join the fun.
A new year in the NBA is right around the corner, and NBA Radio has you covered.
Tatum muscles it up and scoring a foul.
Our experts are breaking down the entire league.
That's going to be a fun team to watch.
And bringing you inside the locker room.
It is a must-win game.
Basketball season is just weeks away, and you're 24/7 home for hoops.
What's up, Blue Jays fans? All right, I can't hear you. It's kind of dead right now. The Jays are down, but this game's not over. It's comeback time. Let's go, boys. What can Vladdy and the team do? Come on, let's hear it, chat. I want to see you guys in the chat. Start spamming that Go Jays Go, and let's get back to it. Finish strong, Blue Jays.
Six Eastern, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Radio Network.
Top of the 9th inning in Tampa Bay, and the Blue Jays only have 3 outs to work with to avoid a sweep. Down 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Rays. Alejandro Kirk is going to pinch hit for Toronto to lead off the inning against the right-handed pitcher, Edwin Uceda. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Chris LaRue. Thanks so much for joining us for this Sunday series finale. Scheduled hitters were Heineman, Lucas, Clement this inning. Kirk 2 up first, and a little bit of a stoppage. The donut got stuck on his bat, the weight. But now he's got it off, and he's up to the plate, batting for the first time. Uceda's pitch. Up and in, ball 1. Kirk batting .247 on the season and a miss inside. 2 balls, no strikes. He comes up with his 14-game hit streak on the line. 2-0. Inside 3-0. Although the priority right now, getting a base runner on so that one swing can tie this game up. 3-0. Called strike. I wonder if the Blue Jays were down 1, if they would pinch hit Kirk here for Heineman, because if Kirk were to get on as the tying run, as the 3-1 is a called strike 3-2. If Kirk's on as the tying run, that's not exactly the base runner you want in that spot. Now down 2, John Schneider and really DeMarlo Hale maybe have a little bit of a different situation. 3-2 pitch. High ball 4, and Kirk's going to take a leadoff walk.
That was a really good at-bat. That last fastball was just above the strike zone, and Alejandro Kirk with the good take. But in 3 batters, so Nathan Lucas, Ernie Clement, and then Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that's a big walk because that almost guarantees that he's coming up in this inning.
One thing you can't do, though, right now for the Blue Jays is pinch run for Kirk. Because you brought Kirk in for Heineman, there are no other catchers on the roster. So Kirk's on first, Lucas is up, and Uceda's pitch is inside. No, it's called a strike, 0-1. Blue Jays still have Springer and Baroa on the bench. Oh, 1. Down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Toronto saw Edwin Uceda in game 1 of this series. He pitched a scoreless 2/3 of an inning. His 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. He's been asked to come up with a couple saves since the injury to Pete Fairbanks. A save situation for Uceda with the Rays up 4-2. But the tying run at the plate for the Blue Jays. Runner on first, no outs in the 9th. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Elevates the heater and gets the whip from Lucas. That's the first down to the top of the 9th inning.
That's a really tough pitch from Uceda. He goes downstairs with the off-speed pitch, and then he just elevates with that really tough fastball. He's got that low 3/4 kind of funky delivery, and that's really tough to catch up to if you're Nathan Lucas.
So 1 out and Ernie Clement up 2 for 4 today. Hit the game-tying single in the 7th. First pitch is hammered to left center field and down in the gap for a base hit. Kirk around second, chugging for third. They're going to hold him up there. Clement gets into second, and the Blue Jays have the tying run in scoring position after an Ernie Clement double.
And outside of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who else do you want up in a big situation? Ernie Clement, against a very tough pitcher, just hammered that baseball into the gap in left field. But I think that's a good job not sending Alejandro Kirk. There's really no need. That run is meaningless, and there's only 1 out in this inning.
Unless you can push Clement in, like you said, risking Kirk doesn't make any sense. Right. Now, a single would score Kirk absolutely, and likely scores the speedy Clement. And you said outside of Guerrero, you want Clement up. Now the Blue Jays get to bring Vladimir Guerrero Jr. up with the game in the balance. Kyle Snyder out to talk to Uceda. Guerrero saw Uceda in the 8th inning of game 1, and he grounded out to shortstop against the righty.
And again, there is a base open, and you don't want to put the go-ahead run on, but you can't groove one here if you're Uceda.
Guerrero 2 for 4 today, looking for his 100th RBI of the season. The pitch. Swing and a liner. Center field. Down for a base hit. Kirk in to score. Clement around third. A late stop and probably a good call. He gets back to the bag. So it's 4-3 now for the Rays. RBI 100 for Guerrero. And runners on the corners with 1 out.
What a good swing. A good swing from Ernie Clement. And another good swing from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He got that changeup down in the zone, stayed back on it, and absolutely hit a missile up the middle.
Hit it so hard that even though Clement got a good break, he couldn't score, and he got the go stop halfway from Carlos Fablas, and a good reaction. He would have been out on that throw to the plate had he kept going. Now Spencer Horwitz up in the pitch. Called strike. Corners in, especially Aranda at first holding on Guerrero, the runner. Middle infield back. First and third, one out. 4-3 Rays, top of the ninth. 0-1. Swing and a grounder foul, 0-2.
Vlad's average now is 327 with that base hit. He's creeping up there.
He's hanging around in that race. Blue Jays looking for a flyout at a minimum. That should tie the game. A lot of space for a ground ball to sneak through on the left side, too. 0-2. Upstairs and outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Should this game go into the bottom of the ninth, Chad Green will be on. He's been warming up since the Blue Jays got the base runner on to start the inning. 1-2. Down and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Uceda set at the belt, first base side of the rubber. He kicks and delivers. Swing and a pop-up. Behind the plate, no, it's going to drift out to shortstop, pardon me, and it's caught just on the turf by Walls. And there are 2 down.
Well, that's a really big out for the Tampa Bay Rays, and a good pitch, too. In that situation, you either want to strike out or you want to pop up. So I always say throw that fastball to the top of the zone, and the hitter will probably swing through it or pop it up. And Spencer Horwitz just pops that thing up.
Horwitz knew it right away, and his swing, he threw the bat away in front of him in frustration. It's still 4-3 for the Rays over the Blue Jays. They didn't send Clement on that single. I still happen to believe that he would have been out by a lot had they sent him.
For sure.
But now they need a base hit or something to get Luis De Los Santos on base. The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1 on a cutter off the plate outside.
And this is obviously a tough matchup for De Los Santos.
Blue Jays have George Springer on the bench, haven't used him. 2 outs, runners on the corners, top of the ninth. The 0-1. Swing and a ground ball hit to short. Walls picks it up, flips to second. That's the ball game. The Rays take it 4-3 and sweep the Blue Jays in Toronto's last home or road series of the season.
Yeah, tough series overall for the Toronto Blue Jays, but they played pretty well today. I think when you look back at this baseball game, you'll think of that one mistake from Zach Pop throwing that cutter instead of throwing a sinker down in that situation. In that situation against Jonathan Aranda, who's been very hot, especially against the Toronto Blue Jays, you have to go with your best pitch. And Zach Pop went with his second, third best pitch in that situation. Not a pitch that I would have thrown.
Aranda ends up factoring in a big way again, and the Brandon Lau 9th inning homer meant a lot as the Rays take the game 4-3 on the back of Lau's add-on run in the bottom of the 8th. 4-3 your final once again. We're going to step aside, come back, wrap it up, and send you over to Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikey's accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
It's time to celebrate you with the Party at the Ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Panel Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the ninth. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend for the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Strike 3. Kevin Gausman strikes out this side.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Blue Jays dropped the series finale to the Rays 4-3, and the Rays sweep Toronto in the last Toronto road series of this season. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Today, strong pitching from both sides, like it was each of the last 2 days. This is actually by far the highest scoring game of the series, but Shane Baz was really, really strong for Tampa Bay, and Ryan Yarbrough really effective on the Blue Jays side as the bulk reliever.
Yeah, Shane Baz, we knew coming into this ball game that he had good stuff. He was the 12th overall pick in 2017, all that good stuff, and he was really having a good season. So not surprising that he had a good ball game today. And also the same goes for Ryan Yarbrough. We've seen him absolutely carve up opposing teams since he's come over from the Dodgers. Even with the Dodgers, we talked about it a little bit today. He was really good with the Dodgers. He was traded over here for Kevin Kiermaier, and again, unlucky a little bit with that earned run that he gave up, but other than that, he was just absolutely outstanding today. 5 strikeouts for him in 4 innings, gave up that earned run, but that was the Zach Pop homer.
Homers played a big factor for the Tampa Bay Rays. They went yard twice. Aranda with a 2-run shot to give their Rays their first lead in the 6th. Brandon Lau's 8th inning homer ended up being huge, as it ended up being the winning run in the 4-3 game. On the other side, the Blue Jays had a lot of hits, 11 hits, 6 of them coming from Ernie Clement and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who really drove the offense for Toronto.
Yeah, I mentioned a couple times, outside of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who do you want up in a big situation? Ernie Clement. He's been clutch all season long, and today was no different. Couple big base hits for this Toronto Blue Jays team. A big base hit in the 9th inning. Unfortunately, he didn't end up scoring late in that ball game, but Ernie Clement, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 6 hits combined. 2 really solid players that I love having in this lineup.
Blue Jays, though, lose despite out-hitting opponent for the 29th time this season, which is most in Major League Baseball, underscoring perhaps the importance of hitting the ball out of the yard. They did not hit a homer all series, and they get swept by the Rays, the last one, a 4-3 final score. The Blue Jays with 3 runs on 11 hits, no errors, 11 left. The Rays 4 runs on 7 hits, 1 error, 3 left. Kevin Kelly gets the win in relief for Tampa Bay, 5-2. Yenesis Cabrera with the loss, 3-3. Edwin Uceta picks up his 4th save of the season. 20,500 saw it, a 2-hour, 44-minute affair at Tropicana Field, and the Blue Jays drop the game to the Rays. Toronto is back in action, starting the final homestand of the year tomorrow with Chris Bassett dueling Tanner Houck at 7:07 at Rogers Center. Blue Jays and Red Sox will play a 3-game series before an off day, and then 3 more against the Marlins to wrap up the year. From our technical director today, Tom Young, our producer, Nick Blackmore, our host, Joe Ali, and my partner, Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman saying thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your day and get your calls and texts in. It's Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali, starting right now.
I gotta say, if anyone had Jonathan Aranda single-handedly sinking the Jays in 3 straight games on their bingo card, I sincerely hope you were on your way to the nearest convenience store to buy a lottery ticket. Man, 3 straight games with a home run that give the Rays a lead. Today, Aranda does it to Zach Pop, a 2-run jack. The Jays offense sputters again, and the Jays get swept by the Rays in St. Petersburg, a 4-3 loss. 3 games producing 5 total runs for the Jays. That wraps up the final road trip of the season. I'm Show Ali. You're listening to Jays Talk live on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're also streaming on Sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet app. You can give me a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-866-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can text me as well, 590-590, name and location. The People's Text line, always open. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. It's a bullpen day today for us to discuss. I like to start by talking about the starters, and Ryan Burr technically started this one. We'll chat about Ryan Yarbrough and the rest of the bullpen, which was, the rest of the bullpen was all right. Ryan Yarbrough actually was pretty good, but it's kind of funny, I thought, that we got to see an opener and a bulk guy at the Trop of all places for the Blue Jays, like the home of the Rays of all teams, a team that effectively invented, or at the very least popularized, I would say, the usage of both an opener and a bulk guy, or a follower. That's what you want to call it. But Ryan Burr, got to give the guys some credit. 1 1/3, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. The slider had some good bite to it today. All 3 of those Ks came on that slider. So great stuff from Burr in a limited role, which I think is the right role. Right, like we talk about the bullpen so much this season. I've made the assertion before that if the Blue Jays had even a regular bullpen, or even just a slightly below average bullpen, as opposed to like a historically bad bullpen, we might be having a different conversation. But, for Burr, I've thought there's a chance he can be in the bullpen next year. But if we're talking about reconstructing the Blue Jays bullpen in 2025, I'm guessing it would have to be, for Burr, that role would be at the very back end, right? Like the lower leverage roles is likely what you're looking at, but definitely a good outing for him. I think despite that being probably where he's best used, doesn't mean he can't give him some credit. So well done for Ryan Burr today. Ryan Yarbrough, of course, getting that bulk role, and you think he was excited to play his former team for the first time? He carved them up. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, which was earned, which was the run that was, I guess it was a fielder's choice on what could have been a double play, and then Zach Pop immediately afterwards gives up the home run. So, we understand how that works in terms of runs getting charged to the guy who let the runner get aboard, but still 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts from Yarbrough. So if you put aside for a second that run that he allowed, because again, it came on the Zach Pop home run, pinpoint command. Like he was dotting that 4-seam fastball for the most part wherever he wanted. He used his off-speed stuff, and as we know, there's a lot of off-speed. You could make the argument that all of it is off-speed stuff, considering that he does not throw the ball particularly hard. But no, in all seriousness, he effectively used the curveball. He worked in some changeups today for a couple of outs. I was very impressed by Yarbrough, and I got to say, I've been very impressed by Yarbrough in his entire Blue Jays career, as short as it has been so far. I've wondered this often as to what it would cost for the Jays to keep him. On one hand, do analytics departments all around the league consistently think, like, how does he keep getting away with this when his fastball tops out at like 88, 89 miles an hour? And that's not an average. That's like the hardest he throws it, essentially. But on the other hand, all the guy does is get outs. So I got to think there must be a place for him in most teams' bullpens, including the Jays. Funnily enough, I can't help but wonder if he has somewhat priced himself out of Toronto, given how well he has pitched. But if it's been within the realm of possibility to bring back Yarbrough, that's a slam dunk decision as far as I'm concerned. Because again, you're talking about rebuilding an entire bullpen, and we'll talk about these other guys here in a sec. But it's funny to think that Cabrera, Swanson, Chad Green, and I'll say Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery, of course, does not pitch for the Blue Jays. Jordan Romano. I'm thinking those 4 guys are probably the most likely guys to get into the Blue Jays bullpen next season. And again, I've said this before, but Swanson making a decent amount of cash next year, Romano making a decent amount of cash next year. Both of the guys could be non-tendered and then brought back at smaller deals. Both of them could just be brought back straight up as well. So we don't know. But for the sake of this conversation, let's say those 4 guys, Romano, Green, Cabrera, and Swanson, are on the team next year. It leaves a lot of spots, right? It leaves a lot of spots for a lot of different guys. So I got to think Ryan Yarbrough would instantly be one of the better ones, even knowing that he can pitch relatively lengthy outings as well. So if anyone gets injured, you could have a Yarbrough start in there, or do what you saw today with an opener followed by Yarbrough. You could in theory go Yariel Rodriguez. If you don't think Yariel Rodriguez is a starter next year, you could go Rodriguez Yarbrough or Yarbrough Rodriguez. So it'll be really interesting to see what that role is for Yarbrough going forward. But again, he has pitched so well, he might have priced him out of the city. Zach Pop goes out there, though, and gives up the lead after some great work from Yarbrough. Like I said earlier, one run gets charged to him and one run gets charged to Pop. But another game in which Pop enters with the lead and leaves without one. Genesis Cabrera was not ideal today from him. He was kind of a mixed bag from essentially everyone else. Eric Swanson gives up a no doubt bomb to Brandon Lau. It's just another game where these guys are more than a little shaky, unfortunately, which I think continues to underline the need for a remade bullpen. So guys are now pitching out of order, so to speak. But it's tough when you're evaluating the bullpen because I think someone called in to talk to Blair maybe a couple days ago or early in the week during one of the evening games, maybe when they were playing the Rangers earlier on the road. And I think there was a suggestion about like spending some of the money that is in theory allocated in the offseason for position players, or at the very least for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You take some of that money and you spend it on the bullpen. And I just think it's a tough proposition to go out there and spend money on the bullpen only because the volatility year over year for any bullpen pitcher, maybe not any, but like for most bullpen pitchers outside of like the best, 10 to 15 to 20 pitchers in all of baseball. I mean, think about it. There are 30 teams. Every team has at least 10 relievers. So that's 300 guys across all major league teams. And then the guys in the minors, guys who get plucked off of other teams, trades get made that don't count towards the active roster or towards the 40-man is essentially what I mean. So, if you're saying that 10 to 15 to 20 of those guys are elite, you're really looking at each team having less than one of those guys, effectively, right? And the truth is, some teams have more than one of those guys. The best teams, I would say, have more than one of those guys, like the Phillies or maybe not the Yankees, but other teams that are contending for the World Series typically have more than one of the elite guys in their bullpen. So, I mean, you're kind of starting from a position of weakness, even if you're like an average Major League Baseball team. So I wonder when it comes to allocating resources towards rebuilding the bullpen, if the easiest thing to do is truthfully like trade guys that are probably not going to have a role on the team next year. And I'm not saying Nathan Lucas is that guy by any means, because Nathan Lucas is someone I've largely been impressed with. But Nathan Lucas, it's just like those people are the players you're going to probably be seeing and hearing rumors about from the Jeff Passons and the Ken Rosenthals of the world when it comes to who's getting shopped for a bullpen arm, for example. And again, I think with the Varsho injury and the rotator cuff surgery, it probably seems, I would say, more likely, despite Lucas being 30, that Lucas is on the team starting next year than it would have been prior to this injury. But I mean, the jury is kind of out on a lot of guys, right? The jury is kind of out sorta on Addison Barger, right? I mean, do we 100% know what Joey Loperfido is? Probably not. And I'm not advocating to trade them. I'm just saying, like, when we're going to go into the offseason in just over a week at this point, the final game of the regular season is in a week today at the Rogers Center when the Marlins are in town. So if that's the case, then, I mean, post next Sunday, we're going to be having these conversations a whole hell of a lot. Obviously, there'll be a bit of a pause once the MLB playoffs get started, but still, that's going to be a fascinating place to be if you're trying to rebuild the bullpen without spending lots of dollars. Obviously, they'll buy a couple guys, sign some guys for sure. But, I mean, I can't help but think we're going to see the formula that largely asked the Blue Jays, or that worked for the Blue Jays, I should say, in the last couple of years, one that the management did not go out and do this year, right? Which I got to think, I mean, I know we are loath to give credit to Ross Atkins for pretty much anything, but one thing he has been all right at doing is building a bullpen, and then he just didn't do that this year. Not only did he not do that, he went out and actively sold pieces from the existing bullpen. That made sense for Jimmy Garcia. Maybe made a slightly less sense for Nate Pearson, but I don't know. Not Jimmy Garcia on the IL in Seattle and not largely pitching well. And yeah, Nate Pearson has been all right, but I tend to think that's not going to continue. The point being, though, is that he traded those guys away and kind of just claimed guys off of waivers. Maybe there's something with Dylan Tate. Maybe there is something with Ryan Burr, as we've discussed, but maybe there's something with Tommy Nance. Who knows? But that's kind of that seems to be the realm of where we'll operate next year when it comes to the rebuilding this bullpen. But I gotta say, like, after position players, after signing, whether it's a third baseman or first baseman. And we'll talk about that in a sec here, because Shai Davidi had an interesting article post-game yesterday about Vladdy and some comments he made yesterday. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But after signing position players, whether it's a left fielder, a third baseman, a first baseman, a DH, a backup catcher, after those guys, the bullpen's probably the next biggest need, maybe even more than the fifth starter at this point. So anyways, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Those are the numbers for you to call. 590-590, name and location. That's the People's text line, and it is certainly always open. All right, let's check the People's text line. Let's see here. I see one from Alex in the Junction. Alex says, regardless of whether Vladdy passed Bobby Witt Jr., even at Vladdy's ceiling, I never really expected a batting title to be this close within reach, given the all-stars that typically lead the league. I think he will no doubt pass 200 hits, which is more than good enough. But imagine how incredible an ending it would be if he does manage to snag the title. That's from Alex in the Junction. And Alex, appreciate the text as always, man. I'm just looking up right now. I know basically that Vladdy has been effectively one of the hottest hitters in Major League Baseball. Yeah, so right now, and again, I'm not sure if this is updated or not, but still, Bobby Witt Jr., batting average of 334. Vladdy, at least coming into this game, 324, and then you got Judge at 321. So all three of them within striking distance. I do think it would require Bobby Witt Jr. slowing down a little bit, but to your point, I'm not sure it really matters, but I think you're right. I'm not sure we expected batting titles and leading the league in hits to necessarily be something that was in Vladdy's wheelhouse. Maybe more power type of things in Vladdy's wheelhouse. But Vladdy's still actually with 194 hits today, because he had 3 hits, including that RBI single at the end of the game. Vladdy actually, he was already at number 2 in the AL in hits, behind, of course, Bobby Witt Jr., who has 205 hits. And again, that's not updated as of today's game, so I haven't seen if Witt's got a hit today. But still, that's very impressive stuff from Vladdy. I got to say, I know we could probably spend a chunk of time talking about Vladdy basically every single game because of how good he has been. But, 3 hit, 1 RBI game. And if you like round numbers, the RBI single that came in the top of the 9th inning gets him to 100 RBI in the season. Just the second time in his career he's done that. He's now at 194 hits and is at sole possession of 9th all-time for hits in a single season in franchise history. Of course, when he was at 192, he had tied Roberto Alomar, and then after that, he took sole possession of 9th place. He's now just 1 hit back of tying Aaron Hill in 2009 for 8th place. So 194 means he has 6 games to get to 6 hits. To Alex's point, sounds pretty doable, right? Again, round numbers are always pretty fun, but that's pretty cool. But hey, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to the West Coast. Let's go to Gary in Vancouver. Gary, what's on your mind?
Hi. I was just talking to your producer about this. I watched most of the game, and every time the camera went to Bo Bichette, he had this look on his face. And he reminded me, as I told the producer, of a little kid that when he's having fun, like hitting, when he's playing, everything's great. But when he's not, woe is me. And I also said something about, was mentioning to your producer that I had a problem with my hand, and specifically my one of my fingers. I don't remember which one because it's been a while. But there's lots of hand specialists in Canada, many in Vancouver, and I actually have 98% feeling and movement in my hand today. And I'm a 66-year-old old guy, but I think that Bo Bichette, if I was the ownership and people that are dealing with this, I would be trading him, because I hate to say this, but he looks like a cancer back there. And the one thing that the Toronto Blue Jays don't need is someone that's got a look on his face like, we're losing. I don't like this. I don't want to be here, but I'm here. I don't know what you think, but they don't need that. I like Vladdy because he's always having fun. He's like a little kid in a sandbox, and I like his attitude. But Bo, get two players for him, or get another player for him that's got a different attitude.
All right,
I just don't like the kid.
Sure. All right,
Okay.
Gary, I appreciate the call. Thanks, Gary. Look, I got to say I do disagree just because, I don't know, like, Bo's had a million injuries this year. His season got ended because of a broken finger, and they just got swept in Tampa. Like, what is there to be happy about? Like, what would he be happy about? Like, would he be just putting on a fake smile, like, just to appease fans on TV? Like, I don't know. I don't really know what the point of that would be. Right? Like, I mean, sure, if you believe the Blue Jays would be better off by trading Bo, sure. But, like, I'm not sure you're trading Bo because, like, he looks annoyed in the dugout. By the way, Bo, I will say, has always, in my opinion, kind of just been, you know, he has that kind of face, right? He's like, he doesn't smile that often. I don't think that's necessarily a knock on the guy. It's just, that's just the reality, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure I'm trading Bo because he looks unhappy in the dugout. It's a valid question to talk about whether or not you would trade Bo now anyways, just because are you better off in 2025 with Bo or someone else? And I know a lot of people are big fans of Leo Jimenez, but I don't know if you're trading Bo at this stage, I feel like you're effectively saying you're trading him at the lowest possible value, right? So if that's the case, then, I mean, you wouldn't want to give up on an asset like Bo, who has been so good, so consistently for so long. And I know people are like, oh man, is Bo going to be a long-term shortstop? Is he going to be at second base at some point? Does he get the big shortstop type of contract if you want to keep him in Toronto? Those are all completely valid questions, but you know, I think the way it stands right now, if you believe Bo is going to be healthy by the beginning of 2025, and I mean, it's a fractured finger. I fractured fingers before. They heal relatively quickly, right? So if you think his fractured finger is not going to be messed up by like the spring of 2025, and I would think it will not be, then the Blue Jays are almost unequivocally better off with Bo than literally anyone else. And I mean, that doesn't mean you still can't trade him. It seems pretty unlikely that by the beginning of next season, Bo will have some kind of massive new deal. And I only say that just because, you know, like it seems like it would make the most sense from a free agent perspective if you were Bo Bichette or Bo's representation to say, hey, look, do your thing, but make sure you do it until free agency, just because shortstops get paid a lot of money. Willie Adames is going to get paid a lot of money in a couple of months here. And Bo, I'm sure, is looking at that and salivating because he's a young guy who, you know, when he's healthy, has been one of the better shortstops offensively, at least in the American League, if not Major League Baseball. So I think you'd rather have that guy to start 2025 than not. Doesn't mean we're not going to have this conversation for most of next year, barring a big time contract extension prior to the deadline. But I don't know. I'm not sure you're washing your hands of Bo, like, just to wash your hands of him, because you know what? When he's on, he's one of the better players on the team. And you know, I mean, to go back to the text from Alex, and we were talking about the ceiling for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It's kind of funny, right? Because if we were having this discussion at the beginning of the season, most people, I think, would have said, get rid of Vladdy. Vladdy's gone, and sign Bo to a long-term deal. And we have completely changed that conversation, right? And I'm not saying necessarily that all fans are fickle, but I do think it's a reminder of how quickly things can change. I mean, really, in the first, what was that graphic that Sportsnet showed on the TV broadcast earlier? It was like in the first 76 games, Vlad had 8 home runs and a batting average of around 270 and OPS of around 760 or whatever it is. And his following 76 games, he's a batting average of like 370 and has 20 something home runs and OPS of almost 1,000 or whatever, whatever it is. Like it's very quickly things can change. That's essentially what it is. There's a text here from Kalen in Toronto. How quickly we forget that Bo was the best hitter on our team for years, and his hot streak last year, probably a huge contributor to the Jays making the playoffs. It's true. I mean, it's very true, Kalen, right? I just think it was such an injury-plagued, miserable season for Bo. Neck spasms, multiple calf injuries, you know, the broken finger now right after he comes back. Like, I got to think that is so frustrating for these like hyper competitive athletes that go out there and are insane about everything, right? So I don't know. I think that's why I don't really hold it against Bo that he's like, I don't know, was a little pouty in the dugout on it when they get swept at one of the worst stadiums in Major League Baseball, right? So I don't know. 416-870-0590, 1-888-660-590, star 590 on your cell, 590, name and location. Those are all the ways you can reach us, the phone numbers, and of course the people's text line. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go back to the text line, and I wanted to discuss the Shai Davidi article on the other side, which had a lot to do with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Still lots to come on the other side. You're listening to Jays Talk on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
This October on Sportsnet.
Did you see that?
Be here for a brand new season. For rivalries.
Wow.
Be here for superstars. Because once the action starts,
here we go.
The excitement is here to stay. October 8th, the puck drops here.
Are you ready?
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
We're 2meninatruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2meninatruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2meninatruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2meninatruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
It's time to celebrate you with the Party at the Ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Panel Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the ninth. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend with the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Pizza.ca. Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's building center. Visit timbermart.ca.
I give you the world, but there's other planets too.
Hola, soy Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Está escuchando a Toronto Blue Jays Baseball en la radio de Sportsnet.
Hasn't really changed much. You know, when you watch him operate, when you watch him work, when you're going against him, it's a frustrating and probably comfortable for hitters 0 for 3. But he has a really good idea what he wants to do. And I've been really impressed with his preparation, his professionalism, understands what he's good at, and you can see why he's been doing it for a long time. So it's been really cool to get to know him, and it's a unique look with the way he kind of crossfires. And he's been kind of a savvy guy for a while, but I like having him on our side.
That is John Schneider talking to the media about Ryan Yarbrough, who got the bulk role today. Shai Davidi asking him, what do you think of Yarbrough after he tormented you for so many years? But it's true. I mean, Ryan Yarbrough used to lulling the Blue Jays to sleep for so many years with the the Tampa Bay Rays. But today, despite the loss, 4 innings pitched for Yarbrough. He gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, which was, of course, the run he gave up when Zach Pop gave up gave up the home run, and too much football today. And then 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. You're listening to Jace Talk here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Show Ali here for another couple of minutes. Still some time to give me a call. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. I wanted to chat with you guys about something that came out actually after Jace Talk yesterday. So after Jace Talk was done, Shai posted his article for sportsnet.ca, and it had a lot to do with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and there were some quotes from Vladdy in it, obviously via the interpreter, Hector LeBron, as he usually does when he speaks to, I'll say this, when he speaks to not Hazel May. When he speaks to Hazel, he usually speaks without the interpreter. When he talks to anyone else, he usually uses the interpreter. But Vladdy, third base. So we've discussed this a lot these last few weeks. But I said after the game, Shai was talking to Vladdy, and it was the possibility that he'll be the team's starting third baseman in 2025. So I'm going to read you some of the actual quotes, again, via Hector LeBron, and then we'll go from there, okay? So the four-time All-Star first baseman says, matter-of-factly, that's my position when describing the hot corner. When a possibility of a shift back to third in 2025 comes up, Guerrero immediately replies, quote, I would love to. Obviously, we haven't decided yet. If the decision is for me to move to third base to make the team better, I am good with that. I will be working hard at third base. At the end of the day, whatever the team needs me to do, I will be giving 100% there. Now, of course, Vladdy is like never, no matter who he's talking to, Shai or anyone else, he's never going to come out and say like, nah, I'm good when presented with the possibility of playing third base. Obviously, considering he did play there earlier in his career full time. I think it's like it almost goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. He is certainly in much better shape now than he was then. And he certainly looks like he has more mobility now than he did then as well. But no matter what, if you're playing Vladdy at third base, even though he, I think, looks significantly better now than he did in 2019 at the hot corner, you are still taking, to a certain extent, a downgrade defensively. Like, that's just the reality, right? So the question, I think, becomes not is it worth it to just put Vladdy at third base, but is it worth it to take the downgrade defensively in order to get a massive power upgrade at first base? And I would say, depending on who that guy is at first base, you're moving Vladdy to third, fourth, then it might be, right? Because we've discussed this before, and you guys have brought this point up many times. It is simply easier to find a hard-hitting first baseman than it is to find a third baseman of any caliber, right? And Alex Bregman, for example, I know he's like the hotness when it comes to third base. This for the free agent class this coming off season, he's going to get paid. Like, there are teams that are far needier than the Blue Jays at third base specifically, and they're going to pay him. Like, someone's paying him, whether it's the Astros offering him a gargantuan amount of money to stay, whether it's another team that really, really needs a third baseman that thinks a third baseman is the only thing they need to compete here. Alex Bregman is going to get a whole hell of a lot of money. Shai mentions this in his piece, but it's something we've discussed before as well. The Matt Chapman deal, of all people, but the deal with the Giants, it was 6 years, I believe, for $151 million. That has almost certainly at least raised the floor for whatever third baseman in general will get, right? Like, whatever anyone who is playing third base will get in free agency. And there are other free agents, but just none, I think, is quite as attractive as Alex Bregman. So if you're seeing all this money going to be handed out to third baseman, I'm guessing with a lot of other needs in the roster, the money the Jays have this offseason will likely not be spent on an external third baseman. So now if we're thinking that's not going to happen, my burning question really is this. Who is the right first baseman in this situation? Like, if Vladdy is at third base, who is the guy that will bridge the gap between Vladdy's defense at third and the production you're otherwise getting at first? And you can certainly text me, 590-590, name and location, if you want to weigh in with who you think should be the first baseman for next year if Vladdy is indeed seeing at least the majority of his time at third base. It could be Spencer Horwitz. It could be a free agent. It could be someone else. And for me, Horwitz is obviously right there. I just can't think Horwitz is going to be the long-term solution at first base if Vladdy's at third, unless, and it's a big unless, the bulk of your money is being spent on the top options in left field and DH, for example. And again, is that top option left field going to be Juan Soto? Probably not. He's probably going to be a Yankee or a Met next season. But, beyond Soto, is it possible that the Blue Jays sign both, let's just say for the sake of this discussion, Anthony Santander and Tyler O'Neill, and then that's your left field DH solution in some way, shape, or form, those two guys. And then you can, in theory, I suppose, get by with Spencer Horwitz playing first base. In theory, you could just sign Pete Alonso, for example, because if the idea is that you need a bona fide power threat at first base, like a guy who rolls out of bed and eats home runs for breakfast, then there are only a handful of guys that fit that description on the free agent market, period, right? Like Pete Alonso, sure, he wants well over $200 million, which we'll see if the market actually is good enough to him that he gets that money, because we've seen before a lot. I mean, last year's a great example where all the Boris clients wanted oodles and oodles of money, and we thought they'd get it, and pretty much none of them did, essentially. So we'll see, certainly, with Pete Alonso, but that seems to be what he's holding out for. If the Blue Jays give him $200 million over 6 years, let's say, it would certainly be the biggest deal the Blue Jays have ever handed out to a free agent. George Springer, 6 years, $150 million right now is the biggest deal they've ever given to anyone. So there's Alonso. Wouldn't mind a Rhys Hoskins, but he would have to opt out of his deal with the Brewers, who just won the NL Central going away. So does he want to come to Toronto, a team that just missed the playoffs? And Rhys Hoskins having a great year after the injury, obviously, towards the end of his tenure with Philly. So, injury-wise, he's also 31. Do you want to, if you're Hoskins, risk it on an opt-out where you might not get as much per year as he's getting right now, which I think is $18 million. So there's that. Christian Walker, I think it might be a good example. 26 home runs. He knocked in 82 RBI this past season, but he's going to be 34 by the time the next season begins. And yeah, would I take Christian Walker on a shorter term deal, maybe a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal with that third year being an option? Sure. But I mean, would Christian Walker take that if this is going to be his last payday? So there are a lot of options, certainly, but I don't know. I mean, do we think that the fan base, and you guys have to tell me this, but do you think that you'd be satisfied if they moved Vladdy to third and like this version of Paul Goldschmidt is the first baseman going forward? Or if, I don't know, like Josh Bell is that guy? Or gosh, like if they have a reunion with Rowdy Tellez, who I believe is a free agent, or Carlos Santana, who's been on a million teams in the last couple of years, I personally don't think I would be. So I'm not sure are those the guys you're moving Vladdy to third for? I would think not. And if Vladdy stays at first base, then the truth is there anyone on the team right now good enough, even in a platoon situation, enough to carry that position if it's not going to be like an Alex Bregman or a Willy Adames? So it's an interesting question, I think, to consider as we go forward into the last week of the regular season. And certainly the third base, first base thing for Vladdy is going to be a question we ask a lot of, if only because, you know what, like the offseason is not that far. Then, of course, I suppose, as we discussed yesterday with Kirk, the money conversation is always a part of this as well. Because, with Vladdy, it's he's going to get if he gets the big time deal, he's not going to get a massive raise in terms of AAV year over year, right? He's already getting paid about, let's call it $20 million. It's 19.9. Let's call it $20 million. Vladdy's getting paid $20 million. Let's say he gets paid $25 million. You're giving him a $5 million raise. Let's say $30 million. You're giving him a $10 million raise. You're not going from like 0 to 25 or 0 to 30 is my point. So you're spending some money on Vladdy, but is the difference between him getting $25 million a year for 12 years, is that going to be because he and $30 million a year for 10 years or 12 years or whatever it might be? Is that going to be the difference between him playing at first base or third base long term? I think it's going to be an interesting question to see how they try and answer it. But the truth is, for me, unless the first baseman is Alonso, Hoskins, and maybe Christian Walker, I don't know how much we really want to say Vladdy at third base is going to be the long-term solution. But I'm curious what you guys think. 590, name and location. People's text line certainly always open. Let's see here. Murray in Muskoka says, Jay's first baseman in 25 is Christian Walker. Vladdy goes to third. And just for kicks, Willy Adames is at short and move Bo to second. You know what? If Christian Walker and Willy Adames are your two big thumpers you get this offseason, sure, great. I can't help but think that Adames, and I've said this before on Jay's Talk Murray, but I am enamored with Willy Adames. But Willy Adames at the same time, he is just someone who I think is going to get paid even more than Alex Bregman, for example. So I don't know. I really do think it's unlikely, but I would love to see Adames on the team. But again, he's going to get paid like $300 million probably. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's get a Vladdy call in here from Jay in North York. Jay, what's up?
Hey, demonstrated defensive proficiency plus this season. He's really coming into his own. Even though he won a Gold Glove 2 years ago, we all know he wasn't one of the top 3 defensive first basemen in the AL. But anyway, if Vladdy's at third next season, it is not a good thing. He's a first baseman. There's nobody on the market better than him at first. unless you get someone like Pete Alonso, not Christian Walker or anybody like that. And there's no reason why I don't buy Pete Alonso. I think he's re-signing with the Mets, quite frankly. So by putting Vladdy at third, giving him 600, plate appearances as a third baseman, which is going to translate into hundreds and hundreds of defensive opportunities at third base. We've seen what happens in the long term. He's going to make mistakes. It's going to cost runs and possibly games, et cetera, et cetera. This isn't the White Sox or the Pirates where you can, let's just put him at third and see what happens. No, this is a team with one more year left to compete in their quote-unquote competitive window. And when you're in your competitive window, you need to have excellent defense in the infield with very good offensive production. Let's remember the Baltimore Orioles are a very good team. The Yankees are a very good team. The Red Sox are going to be better next year. Who knows about the Rays? You've got the Cleveland Indians and the Minnesota Twins, and you got Seattle and Houston. This team isn't, to me, even a wild card team with Vladdy at third base, even if you get a better first baseman. So I don't really know. But for me, he's at first. I keep him there, and even if you sign him long term, he's going to end up at first base anyway, just because of his body type and the way first basemen who are a little on the heavier side end up spending the last few years of their careers.
Hey, appreciate the call, Jay. I think you made some good points there. And you know what? You brought up something we hadn't touched on, which is he might end up at first base anyways, which is true. It's funny when you think of other guys kind of in this boat, and I'll bring up Rafael Devers, who I actually think was just put on the IL. The season might be over, but Devers with the Red Sox, he is a guy who we've made comparisons to Vladdy because of the age, because of the production certainly as well. But I only bring him up because ultimately, I remember having a conversation on Jays Talk Plus with Nick Ashbourne. He and I were filling in for Blake, I don't know, maybe mid-season. It was right around the All-Star break. And we talked to someone from Boston, and I asked him that question, like, hey, do you think Rafael Devers, like by the end of his giant 10-year, $300 million contract extension he signed, will he be the third baseman for the Red Sox? And I remember the Red Sox beat writer basically was like, no, like unequivocally no. And the only reason he's not going to be at first base is because they have a guy named Tristan Casas, who I want to say hit 3 home runs in the first game of their doubleheader today. But the point being is that they have solutions at first base, the Red Sox. But the idea being that ultimately, when it comes to Devers going forward, he will be a DH long term, and it kind of feels like that's probably in the cards for Vladdy. I mean, maybe not anytime soon by any means. He'll be 26 next year. If he signs like a 10 or 12-year deal, by the time he's 32, that's probably the time you're having this conversation in earnest. But it's true. I mean, I just can't get behind moving Vladdy to third unless the difference is being made up in like a massive way by an Alonso or a Hoskins, or I think it's acceptable for Walker. But again, do you want to pay a 34-year-old guy like $20 million, $25 million for 3-4 years? Probably not. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Joel right here in Toronto. Joel, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I wanted to talk about Vladdy in third base because maybe I'm wrong, but I remember when he was first coming up, a lot of the reason for moving him to first was the idea of what would the wear and tear of playing third base do to his ability to stay off the injured reserve. And are we talking about taking somebody who's shown a lot of offensive capability and moving him to a stressful, physically demanding position that's going to keep him out of the lineup?
Hey, it's a good call, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me, Joel. And I think it's a good point. And I think, too, it's easy to forget, maybe because it's happened such a long time ago, but I think it's easy to forget that a reason Vladdy was moved to first base after 2019 was he did come into camp overweight, right? That was a big thing. And he had looked great this year. He has like gradually lost weight, I think, every year essentially since then. But this year in particular, he's looked great, which I think is why they can afford to put him over there. But I think, and again, even if he stays at this weight and in this shape, which is phenomenal, for the next several years, it's just, I just think like typically you see, to Jay's point and to Joel's point, you do typically see guys who are just, I think, a little more slight than Vladdy, because like beyond being a big guy, he's a broad person. And I just can't help but think that just over the course of time, like you have the lateral quickness in order to be a third baseman long term. And I mean, it kind of reminds me, again, we've brought this example like a million times, but Nick Ashbourne brought up the example of, Miguel Cabrera at third and Prince Fielder at first. And then when Fielder was not at first, they just moved Cabrera back to first base. in like the interim and when they were defensive replacements and all these different things. So, I can't help but think that Vladdy is actually just going to see a lot of time at first base anyways. So it's just, maybe they can get by at first base with not Pete Alonso, essentially, if he's playing third. Again, a lot of money is being spent elsewhere. But again, you can't really, like Barker, again, says 2 thumpers. You need those 2 thumpers. You can't like backfill all of these positions internally, I would say. Ben from Toronto on the text line, 590-590, name and location. Vlad needs to stay at first and Adames or Bregman at third. We've talked about Adames or Bregman probably being out of the Blue Jays price range. Probably. There's another text here from Dave in Calgary. I think the biggest thing is that the Jays signed 2 quote-unquote thumpers and then worry about where Vladimir plays. And again, that's fair because the truth is that the cascading effect, like I like to say, is going to be such that it depends, right, on where Vladdy plays based on if that thumper is Anthony Santander or if that thumper is Teoscar Hernandez, right? Because these guys are not playing first base, then you'd have to leave Vladdy at third. It's an interesting needle to thread for the Blue Jays because the other part of it too, and we talked about this yesterday as well, very briefly, is simply you got to think a big part of what will lure an Anthony Santander, a Tyler O'Neill, a Willie Adames, an Alex Bregman, any of the top free agents, even Teoscar Hernandez, who knows this team and city and players very, very well, the front office very well as well. You got to think that the thing that will lure these guys to Toronto will be having Vladimir Guerrero Jr. under contract. So I actually almost feel like the biggest thing that the Jays need to do is, even before they sign these 2 thumpers, is signing Vladdy himself. Now, they have essentially from, I would say, next Monday, not tomorrow, but a week tomorrow, they have from then until the end of the World Series to like really drill down on a contract with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And then that becomes a non-issue, right? But I don't know. I tend to believe that just generally speaking, long term, even if Vladdy's not going to be at third base, despite the fact that it is easier just objectively to find a first baseman than a third baseman, I don't know. Like do you really want to be moving Vladdy for anyone not named Hoskins, Walker, or Alonso? I just personally don't see it. This is not a knock against Spencer Horwitz. It is simply that I think you just want more power there, right? Like you can get by, as you've seen with Vladdy, with a little bit less than defensively or an average defensive player, as long as this guy is hitting bombs. And that's what you got from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. this year. So if he's not there, you need another guy in that ballpark. And the guys we talked about kind of are. Before we go, there's no name on this text, but it was interesting. Do a starting lineup of best AL East players by position. Vladdy is the only position player on the team. Pick the best 5 starters. Maybe one of Gausman or Barrios gets on as the 5th starter. They just need better players overall. It's true. I think you're probably right. Nameless texture, you are probably right because Vladdy is probably the only guy. I was going to say Bo, but Gunnar Henderson probably takes that AL East All-Star squad, I'm guessing. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is certainly getting to 100 ribbies today. 30 home runs and is just one more hit away from getting to 8th all-time on the Blue Jays top 10 list. Single season most hits of all time. Will he get to 200? He has 6 more games to get 6 more hits. Seems pretty doable. Appreciate you being with me on Blue Jays Baseball. Brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Windsor Center and Windsor North, Ontario. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com. Canada's #1 rust protection. For Ben Schulman, Chris LaRue, Tom Young, Nick Blackmore, I'm Show Alley. That does it for us. I am out of here. Blair and Barker have you covered all week long with the Red Sox series, 2 of the Marlins games as well. I'll have my final edition.
This has been Major League Baseball play-by-play on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Why do I love calling this game?
Calling this game.
Calling this game.
Calling this game. Why do I love calling this game? It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game. It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet. Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
It is Bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to deep left center.
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made the play. Oh, my.
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That ball's high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds.
In a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.
The way nothing triumphs a perfectly honest call.
I don't believe what I just saw.
And
the way the right voice can make a moment live forever.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Outsiders may think this is just two teams.
The ball, a bat, and a microphone. But no.
For over 100 years, this has been the soundtrack of the American pastime.
He struck it out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series.
The soundtrack of summer. This is Major League Baseball on the radio.
Right now on Sirius XM.
All rise.
Coming in 5.
Get ready to play.
4.
Get up. Get up.
3.
Can you believe it?
Put your seatbelt on.
Wow.
Talk about the game and all the stories on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89 and the Sirius XM app.
Trout for the last out to win the WBC for Japan. So that place has some significance to him pitching wise. He does it on the anniversary of his major elbow surgery, which kept him out of pitching, which I'm sure is a personal, date in his mind.
Sure.
He does it to clinch his first playoff spot ever. And what's the story about Ohtani? It's always